Well, it is Independence Weekend for these drivers, and it's going to be patriotic schemes all over the place. It's the Stars and Stripes Xfinity Series as these drivers getting ready for Richmond. 200 laps, race number 4 of the season. Out of the 3 races we've had so far, 3 different winners. Starting off the season, it was Mike Watts winning at Daytona. Then we went to Kansas. Scott Rickard came out strong with a couple of laps to spare to get the lead and win there. Las Vegas, we had that of Scott Rickard, Timmy Emanuele, Timmy McNally, excuse me, all looking like they had a chance to win, but late cautions and incidents with lap cars gave a chance for that of Travis Butt to come in and sweep the win for the 0-0. But here tonight, it's short track racing at Richmond for the 3/4 of a mile. This is going to be a fun one at Richmond. Drivers going to be close. Going to be seeing a lot of bumping, possibly 2-3 wide action at starts. And it is going to be a fun one. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is going to be Robert Moyer, who is going to be running both productions and commentating as Hunter Hayward is having a little bit of a family vacation for the next week. So hopefully we'll have Hunter back for when we come back for race number 6, race number 5, 6 of Charlotte, as that is going to be a fun one for sure. But before we get more action going to you, as practice is still underway, do have to give a big shout out to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2. It is now out, and it's a way for you to feel the rumbling of a V8 engine. Feel the rumblings of what the real asphalt, concrete, anything you're running on. Feel that immersion even more. And if you want to get yourself a Gamer 2 to feel instead of just hear the sounds, get yourself a ButtKicker Gamer 2. If you're going to be purchasing a Gamer 2 or anything from ButtKicker, use the promo code FreakyFast20. That's Freaky with 2 E's, 20 when you are purchasing with the promo code. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing. Again, my name is Samuel Dyer. With me is Robert Moyer. Robert, I know you had some stuff you got to get set up. You are ready to go here?
I am ready to go, sir. All right, man. Welcome to everybody tonight to Stars and Stripes Independent Race here at Richmond. As a lot of these drivers out here, Sam, are going to be running some independent race cars that they painted up themselves or had somebody paint them up. So salute to these drivers for doing this. This is pretty awesome to see out there. And also, just to give a note, from what we are seeing right here, there is going to be a best paint scheme winner that receives a prize. And there also is in tonight's race, as they are packing right now 36 vehicles here at Richmond, is going to be a bonus prize with the fewest incidents. So there's literally 2 prizes up here, one for the best paint scheme and 2 for the lowest incidents. And talking about Richmond here, Sam, it's good short track racing, 3/4 mile track, different turns, basically 1 and 2. You're going to really want to try to keep it down low in 1 and, coming at it through 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is really a heavy braking turn, and you really want to get that front end planted before you get back on the gas. So talking about incidents, that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting on the braking zones. I was hearing it over the radio when we were about 30 minutes into practice. Drivers were still even trying to understand where those braking zones are. Drivers had an hour of practice before qualifying, and we've got less than 2 minutes to go. Qualifying right around the corner. That's going to be about 5 minutes for those drivers. 2 laps they have to put down their best time. Nope, they don't invalidate their best time. As if you get any incident points as scrubbing off the wall, going onto the apron, you will be invalidating your lap time under qualifying. But currently right now, that's Timmy McNally, top of the board for the 88. And I touched on it last week, lap cars influencing how Las Vegas was coming to a close. There were no yellow flags really coming out of that race. It was extremely clean racing, but there were a lot of incidents that popped off, both when Timmy McNally as well as Scott Rickard, when they were leading, coming into their second and final pit stop, they got hit by a lap car. Calamity ensued, and then a yellow came out, resetting the field and giving a shot for that of Travis Butt to win. And looking at the drivers and where they are right now on the board, I'm looking to see where some of these drivers are, but I'm not I might be missing him, but on the board I'm looking at, I'm not seeing that Travis Butt until you drop down to 29th. That's where the 00 is. He's going to have to find some speed if he wants to become the first multi-time winner this season, as we've had 3 races, 3 different winners. We'll see if we can have 4 races and 4 different winners. But Scott Ricmond in the 05, the odds-on favorite. He won here last season in the Truck Series, and he's looking poised to get another win. He was the most winningest driver last season, winning the championship for the truck guys. And I gotta say, I mean, for this, Robert, the 05 has been looking quick every track we've been to so far.
That he has. He's been looking very fast here, from going from the trucks into the Xfinity cars, like you said there, Sam. He is looking very, very fast. Week in and week out here, so we'll see how he does here with short track. I call this short track racing here at Richmond, but you know, we were at Las Vegas, like you said. It was a great race, yellow free, and then calamity happened, and it just turned into chaos there at the end, and it even messed up our side of things, but you know, we fixed it. But yeah, we'll have to see what he can do here at some short track racing here, as qualifying is now getting ready to start, and we'll see what these guys can do here at Richmond Raceway. I'll probably call it International, but it's Raceway. I hate when NASCAR changes names.
It's all the different, I mean, it gets bought out by a different person, and then they change the name. There's so many. You got Raceway, Super Speedway, Speedway, International, Super Speedway. I mean, you got just a road course. I mean, it just goes on and on.
On, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe we should just call it, you know, when we go to a track, just say Richmond and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. As drivers are on track, qualifying underway. Like I said, they got 5 minutes, 2 laps to put down their best lap time. And some of these drivers, like we noted, try and get their patriotic schemes out there. So if you're out there in chat, like, subscribe to the YouTube page, and also comment when you're seeing a car in the scheme that you are liking, patriotic. Please put down which car number you are enjoying, and you too could be influencing who gets the reward of the best scheme here tonight. Certainly right now, one of the drivers top of the board, that's Derek Offerman. And touching on last season, that was season 2 in the truck. Season 1 was actually in the ARCA cars, and Derek Offerman won that race for that of the 20 machine. Interested on how well he's going to be able to translate the ARCA cars to the Xfinities. And talking with Hunter throughout the season, I gotta say the ARCA cars very similar to the way these Xfinity machines are going to be reacting here tonight. It's all about throttle control. How do you get back up into the throttle after slowing down, coasting through the corners, carrying that momentum, and making sure you don't spin out, getting on the throttle too soon, or let your car drift up too high into the outside wall. And so here's the 88. It's Timmy McNally. Really interested on how McNally's going to be here for qualifying. We're currently in 3rd, but looks like that's where he'll be lying, as he actually goes top of the board for the 88. As you see the 13 drifting around, issues for them, and for the 13, currently look to see where he's placed at the moment, as for a lot of these drivers up front, it's where you want to be. Track position, one of the main factors for these drivers. Qualifying very important in that, as well as drivers needing to worry about their different tire and fuel strategies. Each week, it is the same amount of tires that you get to have. 4 sets, the one you have on, 3 in pit road. Tire wear, something to watch out for, and also fuel, as these drivers are going to have 90% fuel load for tonight, as you're seeing all the drivers late in qualifying struggling to really get their times down for themselves. As the 13, Eric Schwarr is one of the drivers that's been most consistent, as well with that of Cal McCoy and Derek Offerman. All 3 of those drivers have been able to finish in the top 10 for themselves. But for Schwarr and Offerman, and you also can throw in that of Nate Lynch, they're all in the top 10 of points, but do not have a top 5 finish. They're going to be hoping to change that here tonight, as Schwarr up to 8th place on the positioning after getting his qualifying done.
That is correct, man. Good information there, as we're going to be watching Brian right now. And I do apologize for the camera pack. This is what we got. So if we wind up behind the scene, I will quick change it. But we'll see where this number 11 puts himself up in the board, as this is going to be his first time around here, Sam. So we'll see if he can put down a good lap here and see where he puts himself on the board. Ooh, right now P25.
Yeah, Brian Chu has been having a very not the best season he's been hoping for. There's been speed here or there at tracks. We saw a lot of speed for the 11 at Daytona, but ever since our first race of the season, he's been an up and down type of a night for him. But another driver that has actually been having way more speed than Chu, that's the 4 of Aaron Hale. Hale's been one of those drivers that just seems to be having and showing speed. But last week, a little bit of an up and down evening for himself. The 4 currently 8th in points, 1 top 5, 2 top 10s out of the 3 races that have been run for that of the 4 of Hale. And after that first lap, going to actually, that's a second lap for Hale, 11th currently on the board. That's where he'll lie. Looking at the rest of the field, no one else out there on track. So it looks like our field is set with 25 seconds left in qualifying.
Oh, good job from the top 3 here, as Timmy, Derek, and Scott are going to be on your top, and then we got Dr. House is going. Wow, nice qualifying for the 18 there, Toyota of Dr. House. That's good to see.
It is absolutely great to see for that of Paul House. Paul House, Mr. House, we call him 22nd in points, and he is needing a great race. He's been caught up in a lot of incidences, and we touched on the fact that tonight, if you don't have any incidences, it puts you in a chance to earn some money. The 18 is going to have to change his luck as drivers are getting set. Here's a look at where they are going to be set here for your top 10. It's Timmy McNally, as well as that of Derek Offerman. Scott Rickard going to be your top 3, with Paul Dr. House in 4th, as well as that of Brad Davis going to be in 5th place. Also for that 14 team up at the top 5, as well as that of Dylan Grimm going to be in that of 6th place for the 23. And you also going to be showing that of Brad Milsick going to be in 7th for the 21. Eric Schwartz going to be in 8th place, with Travis Butt in 9th. He was able to recover after a poor practice times for himself, but qualifying was there. We know his race pace going to be something to watch out for. And Ken Campbell in 10th place as we continue to let the rest of the grid go out. Some drivers of note to be watching out for. In 16th, that's where we're going to be finding Andrew Medlin. He's another one of those drivers that we've seen time and time again at the end of the race, showing up for himself. Interested to see how he'll attack at the end of this race. Also, Adam Allen, who at one point was our points leader going into last week, had a poor week, finished last. He's going to have to figure out how to recover, starting back in 21st position. And some other drivers are going to be further back. That of John Warner, that is a driver that's in my eyes someone to watch out for in 28th position. He came into tonight with the most of the incident points throughout our first 3 races. He's going to have to clean that up, or he's going to be around a lot of wrecks, and hopefully we hope that he's not going to be a wreck magnet, but we know that sometimes it sticks out.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes you don't even want to be the wreck, and you wind up in the wreck. You become the wreck. So we'll have to see how this all plays out, as they are packing a big field here tonight. It's going to be fun here as we're getting ready to go green, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully everybody enjoys the content here tonight. Enjoy the audio and the sights and the sounds here at Richmond Raceway here with Stars and Stripes, as they're going to get ready to run. What are we looking at? 200 laps, I do believe.
Yeah, 200 laps here at Richmond. There's no stages. It's all about going from green to green, hopefully. But last season, we were green for most of the race, then had some 3 late cautions that popped up. Kind of changed the way the scheme of the race was going. We'll see if it could be a similar story here tonight. But they had only a 20-car field last season. It's 37 here tonight, as the pace car is excitedly going to be getting off here. And I know for the field, they want to get going. Anticipation for this race. A lot of drivers excited to be showing off their schemes. Currently in the chat, it's the 33, and I'm not surprised to be seeing that SRE up front on the charts of favorite schemes. That 33 machine, always a fan favorite, and we'll see how well we could be seeing the 33 recover. As last week, again, one of those drivers that had an off week. We'll see how well he can get up front, but of our front drivers, that of McNally, Offerman, Rickard, House, Davis, your top 5. In the Discord chat, I kind of was asking these drivers around what were they thinking. Some drivers throwing out 6 cautions here tonight. I know we like our odds. What are you thinking? More than 6 cautions or less there, Robert?
More.
More than 6. That's Robert's guess as we are green as McNally takes us to turn number 1. We'll see if we have more than 6, or will they stay green at side-by-side for second place. But the rest of the field, middle of the pack, got to be careful of that. Soldering practice, they were willing to go 3 wide at times when on restarts, but currently right now, we're keeping it green. And still, it's Timmy McNally pulling away as Scott Rickard's going to be moving himself into second place, pushing that of Offerman back to third, and side-by-side for now for that of fourth place, Davis House, as we go back into turn number 1.
And it looks like we had a little bit of calamity already there in turn number 1 here, on lap number 1 here, Sam. And somebody got loose and checked up the whole field, and you can see everybody just got bottlenecked right here. But they kept it straight, they kept it green, and they're getting back in line.
Yeah, in the middle of the field is just going to be a hornet's nest all race long. It's already, we're starting to see drivers in line. Our top 17 practically all in line with one another. And I'm not surprised by that. I think the only true side-by-side action is for that of fourth place with House and Davis. And then you have to fall all the way back to 16th, where you've got Adam Allen and also Mike Lynch. They're battling side-by-side as that of Adam Allen able to confirm that pass. But back here where you're watching, it is certainly still a hornet's nest of drivers. I mean, right now, Robert, I'm surprised that we're still green.
Yeah, I am too, and I got bravos to these drivers because, you know, the hardest thing to do, even at a short track, at any short track, is the start of a race or a start on a restart. When you're all bunched up and everybody's trying to get that one position, and you fight for that one position, and that's normally when we see the yellows, and that's when that phrase comes in: cautions breathe cautions, because. You know, as we got the 68 getting loose there, my thing about it is, Sam, is that you really got to fight and get that position right away, because sometimes if you don't, you're going to get stuck in limbo and you just don't go nowhere then, and eventually these cars all equal out, and then it's all about driving style. Who can get into better braking, who gets on the gas faster, who can, run through that corner faster, things like that. But normally, this is the type of racing that we see here. Once you get single file, it is hard. You really gotta take it all at the beginning of a start.
Yeah, and with it being 37 drivers, once we're in line, the gap difference between the driver that's in first and the driver that's all the way in last, it gets very close to one another. Currently, right now, the difference between last place, that of Patrick Hasty, as well as our leader of Timmy McNally, they're only 10 seconds away from one another, from that of the 9 being going a lap down. I mean, the difference of where drivers are going to be extremely massive. You got to make sure you pick up your pace. But for our leaders, if we stay green anywhere from 30 to 40 laps here, lap traffic is going to become a factor, which we already saw at Las Vegas last week. Lap traffic really took out some of our favorites to win. Could happen here tonight, as currently right now for the lead, Timmy McNally, he's under pressure, as Scott Rickard's now going to the inside, and that of Derek Offerman to his, going to be behind them, just watching the action. But here comes the 0-5 down below on entry of turn 1.
Well, we'll see what the 0-5 of Scott can do here as he's trying to work his way to the lead here. And right now that 88's got a great run on the top side there. I don't see that lasting too long there, Sam, as you know, the more you do this, the more you burn off your tires. So we'll have to see what Timmy can do here in that 88 Jordan machine here, Toyota Jordan machine, actually. That's a pretty cool paint scheme, if you ask me. Might not be patriotic, but I like it.
Yeah, that's Timmy McNally's regular scheme that he's been running. He ran it last week and showed speed for the first 3/4 of the race, and then he got caught up in a mess. And Scott Rickard, he's going to be going to the inside running his patriotic scheme. Derek Offerman as well, running a little bit of red, white, and blue on his that of his Home Depot 20. Drivers having fun on where they're placed, but very clean pass there from Scott Rickard, and able to make the pass within 2 laps of being side-by-side with the 88. Drivers that were side-by-side for quite longer than that, Brad Davis and Paul House, they finally have gotten themselves situated with that of Davis still holding on to the 88 as a 21. Messick, he's coming into the mix here. Might be thinking about getting inside the top 5.
Great battling going on back here. Dr. House is right now down one position. He's still showing a very clean start by everybody as we come back here to Brandon in that number 21 from Irwin, PA. Out here, wow, I like that. He's running an Irwin paint scheme where he's from. Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's a very Irwin scheme's very clean. Thinking of all the different Irwin schemes that have been in NASCAR, very clean for that of the 21. Messick, looking at Messick as a team similar to House, both those drivers haven't really had the most consistency in our first 3 races of the season. Messick as well as House looking for their first top five finishes for themselves. But you touched on it about 5 laps ago. The 68, getting out of shape. That was Nick Holland. Holland had a very poor qualifying run, putting him back in 31st position. He's up to 22nd, one of our biggest movers so far. And he's looking poised. Looking at the lap times that the 68 is putting down compared to our leaders, he's only about 300ths off of what our leaders' lap times are. And based off of his lap time, he would be running up in 3rd position. So look out for this 68 the longer the run goes on where he might be placing himself in the next about 50 to 60 laps.
Yep, we'll have to see where he winds up at. As like you said, he is running the pace as the leaders here, and we'll see if he can keep this momentum going, because I also call this a momentum track. Once we get into momentum, you're going to see drivers start hitting their strides and hitting the braking points and getting back going and things like that. And it's all going to be about saving the tires and see what you can get out of the long fuel run. But you get this momentum going here, we can see a long green flag running. I really wouldn't be surprised right now from the way it looks right now as me and my freaking big mouth.
Oh, no. Cole Grimes, the 3. And, oh, boy, coming on the high side. Had to watch out as Velez actually almost ran into that of the 3 as early wreck. And now the 3's already being put a lap down.
Wow.
I believe he should be getting those laps back, but because the pace car passed him and so did the leaders and he was already sideways, I don't know if that of Grimes is going to get his lap back.
Probably not. As we watched Freaky Fast replay here, and you can see, the 59 Hooters machine got right up underneath him on the left rear, sent him around and up into the outside wall he goes, and he already had rear end damage, but that just does not help anymore. But like you said, then the leaders just came by, and the 67. Who was that?
That was Velez. Velez just came in with a head of steam. And what was the problem for Velez is he was already running a high line, and when he came in, he locked up his brakes instead of letting off the brakes, so he had control of where his car was going to turn. Because he was still holding on his brakes, the car only went straight and almost made more damage for himself and for that of Grimes. But Grimes still lapped down. Some drivers decided to come into pit road, and that driver, the 59, that was Max Ward. They were battling for 26th position when that incident happened. But some drivers coming into pit road, that's going to be the 223 of Brian Borchett, who as well as Josh Warner. Kyle McCoy coming in, getting some tires, it looks like, and tires for the 11 of Brian Chu. And I like this call from Chu and McCoy. They've got 3 sets to work with in pit road. And this race was kind of looking like it was going to be, with it being a 90% fuel load, that the drivers could split this race in half with a 1-stop. So you kind of had a set to work with in the first half of the race, then that halfway point pit stop for your tires to still be on the same set as everyone else. And then you had an extra set if a late caution came in the final 50 laps or 30 laps of this thing. More drivers coming into pit road, that of John Dart as well as Bill Dart. So the Dart's coming in and topping off and getting tires as well for themselves. So got to watch out for those drivers 32nd on back on how well they're going to be charging through the field.
So my question to you, Sam, is with Kyle and all these guys pitting on lap 19, you think that's a good call, pitting this early already?
I mean, with how big of a field this is, I'm not a big fan of this caution, especially because the phrase is cautions breed cautions.
Right.
And this is already the first one early on. The drivers aren't going to have as much tire wear to work with this go around. So they're going to have to be concerned that some moves that they might try to make, they might drift up because the tire wear has been so much. But if we stay green, I love the call. But the
Yeah.
question is, I don't see this race going green because I feel like there's going to be some drivers already kind of irritated at one another, wanting to make the fat passes as quick as possible. This is your best shot to make the passes when you're doing restarts.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see here, as they're going to probably get ready to go back green this time by, as the pace car lights are off, and they're going to get double file here at Ricmond International. Well, see, I did it again. Ricmond Raceway. I knew I was going to do it. I'm going to say that all night, everybody, so...
Well, it's a good thing that NASCAR drivers now we have some international drivers, so...
It's true. Very true.
So
very true.
Sometimes it gets international.
Well, we do got a good viewing point out there from on YouTube. So I know everybody out there that can and is watching. Again, like Sam said, let us know who you're rooting for, what favorite paint scheme that you like, which 9 out of 10 is going to be who you're rooting for is what the paint scheme that you're going to like out there. But that might help the league owners make that decision on the prizes here within Friday. That stuff is going to be announced. So we will be able to let everybody know that on our next broadcast here with them guys. Actually, next Thursday, we should be able to give that announcement who won that.
Yeah, next Thursday is going to be at Charlotte, so drivers getting back to mile and a half racing. But here tonight, it's still side-by-side hard racing going on for that of 6th place. As that of Messick, Grimm, they are side-by-side, and for the 23, he's trying to put himself in a 6th position, and he's done so. Also, Travis Butt, our winner from last week in Las Vegas, he's up to 9th, and now trying to move into more positions, as it looks like that of Schwartz. He's stuck on the high line, and we saw that work for McNally in the first 5 laps or so on fresher tires. These older tires, you only got a couple of tires to work with. 21 gets sideways, able to save it. We stay green.
No way.
Oh no, more contact. 21 into the 25. They're sliding into the inside wall. Hard contact for the 21 as we still stay green, but completely stopped is that of Nate Lynch, as well as the 21 of Messick. Messick got the worst of it as he is now finally getting rolling. And he's got to get going so quick because the lead lap cars, they're on the back stretch, same as the 21.
Wow, I'm shocked that there was no yellow on that one, Sam. I mean, that was total calamity right there. I mean, cars were running each other over.
Yeah, I mean, you thought for sure possibly the first incident would have brought it because we saw Messick get almost 45 degrees and just drifting in front of the field, but it's up to iRacing to make the calls on the cautions, and because there was no caution thrown, because the driver was able to save his car and was not completely perpendicular with the rest of the field stayed green. That second incident, though, was a lot harder, and I'm surprised that one wasn't called because we saw the 21 and the 25 go into the inside wall, bounce back onto the racing surface, but iRacing still did not deem that as a wreck and as a caution, so we stay green, single filed out for most of the field until you go back to that 17th position, where we're seeing that easily being passed as that of the 23. Essery up to 16th place, pushing that of our Kansas, one of our drivers that I thought possibly could have won at Kansas, that of Chris Wade, and back to 17th. But holy smokes, what a start to this restart.
Well, we say cautions breed cautions. Apparently, cautions don't breed cautions because that should have been a caution. We're totally wrong. Don't listen to us up here. We don't know what we're talking about.
Well, a driver that is also trying to prove us wrong, Kyle McCoy, started all the way back in 31st position with all of the calamity that happened, able to kind of capitalize on all the real checkups, slowdowns, unsure of what was going to happen. Now up to 21st position for the 7 and continuously moving forward. And if this race stays green, the lead lap drivers looking for anywhere from, if they're going to use all 3 of their sets periodically, around lap 65 to 100 is our window. And it's so large because the fuel mileage is so large. You can really go about 80 to about 120 laps on fuel, which is putting these drivers in such a weird predicament of, do I want to make sure I've got the best tires on the last run, or get those tires and hope I've got a big enough lead to hold off the rest of the field? Yeah,
that is going to be the big question here tonight, Sam. if I was a driver out there, I would have to say my tires are more important than fuel. Of course, you got to have fuel to finish a race, but I would want the tires in the second half and try to run down the cars in front of me, then try to hold off the cars behind me on older tires. I just think you just would get eaten up within so many laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, gosh, it's so frustrating to make these decisions sometimes, just because you really can push it out pretty far and figure out where you're going to place yourself. Still, big fans of the 33 SRA, still moving forward, and we always know the 33's got a big fan base. He's up to 16th place, trying to get into the top 15, middle of the field, where it's kind of still calamity to watch out for. But Robert, looking at the field of currently, moving away from everyone else is Scott Rickard, who's already up to 1.5 second lead over the rest of the field. And I'm wondering if the rest of the field is going with a tire saving model here, or if the 05 is just that fast over the rest of the field, as it didn't seem like he was outclassing the field that much during practice or qualifying. But it has certainly changed once the drop of the green from this last restart.
Well, looking at the lap times here, Sam, the last time around, everybody's running the 23.5s. So, and that's the top three of Derek and Timmy in the 88 and the 20. Brad Davis ran a 23.6. So I don't know if they are trying to save tires or Scott is just that. I mean, honestly, just looking at the lap times, I really don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I mean, where's he picking up the time at is my question.
I mean,
lap traffic?
That last time by, though, was a lot slower. Yeah, lap traffic now going to be a factor, as that of Scott Rickard has finally picked up the end of the line, as he's just gotten by that of John Dart and Velez, and now trying to figure out how to get by that of Hooper and Chu in front of the 05, which is interesting as he just got by that of John Dart. Dart had pitted for fresh tires, so obviously for the 66, this is not a track that he is fond of. Also heavy right side damage for the 66 that is being passed by the rest of our leaders. And just like how we saw Las Vegas last week, lap traffic could be a major factor to watch out for, because if they have a mistake, it could throw everyone else in a loop. As I'm just watching to see how our leader is going to get through traffic. The next driver he's going to try to get by is that of Haas Reverly, and Haas has got a lot of front end damage, no front clip. That front bumper is gone. So now for our leader, he's just going to hope the next couple of drivers, which are a good amount, 6 seconds ahead of the next driver to put down a lap down. Scott Rickard's got some space to try to pull away. As second place, that of Derek Offerman, he's got a wall of lap traffic now to get by. All three drivers that our leader just got by in an ease. It is difficult for the rest of the field now.
Yeah, and this is going to come key. We don't talk about this much at Richmond, but you can see here, packing these many cars, of course, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast, and now you can see them, we talked earlier in the broadcast about lap traffic and from first place to last place, how far the last place car was back from the first place car. And you can see this now. You got damaged cars, you got lap traffic cars, you got cars trying to battle themselves to stay on the lead lap, or at least battle that to be the lucky dog.
Yellow.
We have a yellow.
Yellow flag.
I'm not talking about yellows no more.
You just bring it up and we'll throw them down.
Tonight. Yeah, apparently when I talk about it, we get a yellow.
Oh boy, this one's interesting because I have no clue where it is.
I was going to say, we're not triggered on our software, ladies and gentlemen, here, so I have no clue. I don't know where it's at. Is that an admin?
Go back and see. No, it was not an admin thrown, but I think I might have found out exactly where it was, and it's the 29 of Hooper, a lap car driver, pressuring a lead lap driver, that of Eric Schwar, making contact. 29 goes sideways, and that brings out our yellow.
All right. Well, we'll look at the instant replay if we get triggered on our side of the software, but can't go back and look at something if it doesn't show me it.
I don't see us getting that one triggered. It was on the racing surface. They never went off, and usually there needs to be a big collision for there to be a caution thrown. But some of our front runners coming into pit road, Derek Offerman leading that, as well as Travis Butt and Schwar. But that is interesting to see for those drivers. Trey, Jackson as well. Seems like everyone from 8th on back deciding to come into pit road, leaving us with that of Scott Rickard, Timmy McNally, Brad Davis, Dr. House in 4th, Grimm going to be in 5th, Metcalf in 6th place, Wade in 7th, McCoy, and those are the last of our top 8 that have decided to stay out. Oh, you could throw in another driver, as it looks like that of Brian Burchett going to be coming and staying out, as well as Brian Chu. So 10 drivers staying out. Interesting call from those 10. I'm not feeling comfortable with some of these drivers and their calls to stay out. There's a lot of drivers back here. Burchett, Chu, they've got some heavy right side damage, and it looks like Chu coming into pit road, as well as the lap down machine of Cole Grimm, which Grimm, gotta feel bad for the 3. He was hoping for the caution to come out quicker and was not able to get it. Oh, issues for Beverly coming into pit road. I was re-looking, and the 22 actually got clipped by the 66 when they were coming in. Those were lap down drivers having issues on pit road.
I'm looking here. Kyle and Brian in the 223 and the 7. Kyle's up 27 positions. Now, he pitted on lap 19, Sam. So did Brian in the 223. So they pitted early to get to track position. So that's actually not a bad call, because it actually worked out for what they wanted it to work out. They, you noted earlier that, with them pitting that early, they needed to see another yellow to get that track position. If they wouldn't have got that yellow, it would have cycled them off a little worse than what it's already cycled off now for that. But just puts them up in the front here, in 8th and 9th position in the top 10. So they can really play what the leaders do now. The problem is that they've already used a set of tires. So these front pack guys have not pitted yet, meaning that they got an extra set of tires. So if we have a really fast yellow here, Sam, do they go in? I would imagine Timmy, Brian, Davis, Scott. I would imagine if we get another yellow here within the next 10 laps, they're going to come in and get tires and fuel on lap, around lap 60, because that would be around our 10 laps. So, the question would be, is what does Kyle do? Do they stay out? Do they go down and just get fuel? So at least they're on the same fuel strategy as the leaders. It's just a difference on tires.
I mean, looking at Kyle McCoy, I think he's planning on staying out there until probably lap 120. I think that's where his marker is going to be now. I think for a lot of the drivers that have not pitted so far, that's going to be our top 7 of that of Rickard, McNally, Davis, House, Grimm, Metcalf, Wade. They're all going to be focusing on making sure to pit around lap 100, split this race in half, have some sets of tires to work with. So they're kind of at an advantage in that second half of the race.
Right.
But for McCoy, he's going to have to figure out how to stay up front. The driver that's in the worst case scenario, that's going to be Brian Burchett, who's going to be dropping back quickly, but up front, green flag in the air. For Scott Rickard, great launch for himself, as House stuck on the high side, but the rest of the field, it is going to be calamity coming out of turn 2.
Let's go side by side down the backstretch here to go into turn 3 and 4, a hard braking point here as we are riding along with Jason here in that number 35. Looking very good right now out here. He is up 13 positions right now. So we had some drivers that started in the back, worked their way to the front, and then some drivers from the front are in the back now, they're saying.
Yeah, making some great moves and decisions to take track position over getting fresh rubber early on. I like it, but there's the quick caution that they needed.
Yep.
Oh, a lot of cars coming to a dead stop, as that's the 4, as well as our Daytona winner, Mike Watts, involved in this one.
Aaron, John, Mike Watts was involved. We'll go back here on the Freaky Fast replay.
It's one of those things where it looked like the 84, Mike Watts, thought he was clear and was not. Also a little bit of bobbling in front of them, that of Medlin and others, and just not being clear enough. That's really the issue. Drivers drifting up for the 84 and contact with the 4. Just one of those spots where drivers looking for the same real estate, not working out for one another.
Well, it don't look like the 84 of Mike got too much damage, as long as that, who is that, the 66? Ooh, okay, he missed him.
Yeah. It's a really odd wreck that happened, though, because it happened in the middle of the straightaway. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on in Hale's mind, because it looked like he never actually got on the brakes until he was entering the corner. He was just still full throttling it, trying to shove the 84 just off of his nose, and it was hurting both drivers. So it was a very interesting wreck for the both of them. Any short track driving, Robert, we expect short tempers or to arise, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of a rivalry from the 84 and the Ford.
Oh boy, here we go. Interesting.
Still.
Stay tuned to social media.
As we're only a quarter of the way through, a little bit past lap 52. These drivers still have a long ways to go, as someone in my neighborhood decided to do donuts outside.
I hear it. They're all excited.
They're still going. I thought they were about to wreck. Oh, man.
They're like, hey, man, we're at Richmond. Listen to this.
Hey, the race isn't over. Got to cool it. As up front, Scott Rickard still leading, dominating. And wouldn't be surprised. I think the real question for Scott Rickard is, once we stay up front, and I think if everyone was pitting at the same time, it would work out for the 0-5. But with the fact that most of the field is already pitted, this is now going to put a real strain on our top 6 on when they decide to come into pit road, because when they come in, they're going to be going all the way to the back instead of in just like the middle of the pack or in the top 10 of pit stops. They are going to be in a real pickle in about 50 laps when they decide to come into pit road.
Yeah, and that's the thing here, Sam, is that, hey, it's great. They're up in the front. They're staying away from the pack of, hungry wolves behind them and everything. And, at a short track race like Richmond or anywhere like Martinsville, you want to be up front. But, like you said, being up front is great to a point. These guys need this race to stay green, so they can have the rest of the field basically burn off their tires and fuel and slow them down, so when they get their fresh rubber, they are faster. These yellows, yeah, they're saving on fuel. They can run it farther, but at the same time, like I said, there's a good point to this and there's a bad point to this.
Oh yeah, there's always the tail of a coin, where you got one side where it just seems like staying out's the best decision. On the other side, pitting to get it fresh rubber would also help you enhance yourself, have a great run. But another thing that we touched on early in the broadcast before we went green was, how many cautions do we think we're going to have? Already 3, tying last season. With a smaller field, they only had 3 cautions, and that came late in the final quarter of this race. We're in the first quarter of this race, already 3 cautions, and we haven't even gotten to really the intense part of the final quarter of this race, when the drivers are going to have 0 give and all take on track, trying to grab and steal every position they can get. Robert, I think your prediction of over 6 cautions might be right, as green flag back in the air. It's going to be Rickard going far, but on the high side to McNally. It seems like he's having a little bit of a woe, giving positions now to the 14. Here comes Davis to the inside.
Davis is going to try to work the inside here, coming out of turn 2, heading down the back stretch, as he's going to keep that 88 up on the high side. They go side by side. These guys are still on the same tires here as the 23 of... Who is that there? The 23... Oh,
that's going to be Graham, Dylan Graham. Yeah. He's on the same strategy as our front 6.
That's what I was looking at. Sorry, I apologize. I got to look at different screens here, so...
You're doing great out there, Robert. We're loving it. But the 20 is going to be shoved. They're going to be 3 wide, and that's Offerman, who's going to be pushing House into the 35, as that is going to be Metcalf, who's going to be going back in. Metcalf absolutely destroyed. They're also 3 wide in front of them, as, oh my goodness, drivers being cycled everywhere. Driver to watch out for. It's the 20. Offerman, freshest tires on track, as he's now up to 5th place, trying to bully his way up to the lead.
Oh, he's bowling really good, as he's going to try to get underneath Butts there. Travis in that 0-0. He's going to... Oh, wait, no, he did pass him. I do apologize. See, I'm so far off here. He's back here working with Dr. House. He's trying to figure out what caused the cancer.
A blink of an eye, the 20 is already passing everyone that we see. It's one of those things where we're like, oh yeah, they're close. Oh no, they're not. As now the middle of the field, it is going to be treacherous with drivers that have not pitted already. They're going to be on 59-lap old tires, while the rest of the field is on 45-lap fresher tires than them. It is going to be like breeze for them, cutting through all of this traffic. But it also means they're going to have drivers on very different braking zones compared to the fresh tires. the drivers that have pitted recently, and those that have been out there on the same tires since the start of the race, their braking zones will be slightly off, which means carnage right around the corner.
That is correct. Well, I'm watching the lap times here right now. You guys, everybody can really tell as we see Derek working the lap track, working the, what's that, 4th position he's working here right now. But what I was going to, my key is going to get at here, Sam, is that he's back here working in traffic, trying to catch the leader. The leader's out there, Scott's all by himself, still with 50-lap old tires, 60-lap old tires, is still running 23 4s, 23 1s to Derek's 23 2s. So he's much faster in clean air than working traffic here. So I'm telling you, lap traffic and traffic can play a hinder in a race for a driver.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for Offerman is once he came out at pit stops, he was only placed back in 9th place, so he's only had to pass a few less drivers, as when we saw Kyle McCoy earlier on after our first wreck is getting extremely loose, out of shape. Ken Campbell, he's got to watch out because the old boy moving up is going to be Metcalf pushing up and almost getting the house that would have taken out the 15. Somehow we stay green as our top 5 moving back. It's just a mess. I mean, you've got drivers like Metcalf. You also have House, Davis, and also Wade all on those 64 lap old tires compared to the rest of the field. And they're trying to just get out of the way the best that they can, but some of them also trying to defend the positions that they've got. And then also mingled in the mix of all this, you got Kyle McCoy, who he's stuck in 13th. He's got fresher tires than those guys that started off the race, but his tires are now 46 laps old. They've started to equal out plateau and still losing ground as the 7. I'm baffled by our top 2, that and McNally in record. They have done a great job, but McNally finally under pressure. Here comes that of Offerman, who is now just a second away from Rick Garden. He sees the 0-5 and sees a chance to take the lead.
Well, he finally worked the traffic, and it took him about 10 laps to get to this point here, Sam. So he finally made it and worked it through the lap traffic. Now he's going to run down, and he will catch Scott. Now that he's out of the traffic and has clean air on the front of that car, he doesn't have to deal with the dirty air. He should be able to mow him down pretty fast within the next, I believe, 5 to 6 laps here. He should be able to get him, as we'll see the lap times here. He's running a 23 1s, almost a 22 9s to Scott's 23 4s. So yeah, he's catching him about a 10th a lap. So
our fan favorite 33, Chris Essery. That 33 machine, top 10 currently, and trying to move up into gaining more positions. There's about 2 to 3 that can be gained, possibly up to a top 5 finish if you can stay patient moving forward. But up front, I mean, I'm keeping my eye out for that 68, but it won't last very long. Caution, it's going to be Mark Beverly, the 51, hard into the wall. Actually, he's going to be avoiding that, as that's actually Kovsik who's going to be involved. Oh man, that is hard. Thomas Vela is also involved in this thing, but they get able to get fired up, get moving before the lead back and catch up to them.
Yeah, wow. Caution number 4 here, as we'll go back and see what happened here with Tom.
Oh man, it's all started, it looked like, for Mark Beverly. He blinked and got himself mixed up with that of Nate Lynch. Actually, excuse me, that was someone else that he got marked tapped by. There was a lot of blinking issues that happened.
Yeah.
It started all off.
We would go back, and he got into the 65. He literally blinked out, blinked back in the 65 of Georgia. Didn't know where he was and just ran right into him, which then caused everybody else to chain reaction there, Sam, of Tom and everybody else. So I would show that replay, but when you got a car blinking out, it's going to throw my cameras off, so I won't be able to show exactly what happened to Mark, but he did blink out, like you said.
Yeah, I went back even further. It started coming out of turn 2. Mark was battling for 17th place with Josh Warner, and Josh didn't know where the 51 went. Beverly blinked, made contact, and then more drivers piled into it. I believe actually the 223 might have been the driver that also got extreme contact after hitting the blinking machine. And then we saw the others piling in. It just was an absolute one of those wrecks that when you see a blinking car, you hope never happens, but sometimes there's just zero control when you see a car blinking on what possibly is the next solution besides parking that driver.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want to do is park somebody, but sometimes that's the best thing to do when you have internet woes. We call it, on the internet side, internet issues, blinking. We don't want to call it the other thing with the N word, but you get warping in and out. It's just like real life. It's a motor problem or steering problem. We seen it in the Coca-Cola series at Road America. What's his name? His force feedback literally stopped his wheel and he drove right into the wall.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different incidences like that. I mean, there's some drivers that actually their force feedback can be so high that when they hit the wall with the force feedback, they can actually cause physical harm to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So all the different factors of virtual racing, it's those unknowns can always come in, and it's just like real life racing with the unknowns of an engine just going down or a tire blowing. We saw that with Kyle Larson last week at Pocono, where he had a chance to win a race, and then misfortune popped up coming through turn 3. So the unknown's always up there in the air, even here on the virtual side of things. And do want to give a big thanks
$40 for that. Anyways,
hey, gambling's make sure you're doing it in a legal state and that you're of a legal age to do so.
There you go.
But here for the Stars and Stripes, these drivers certainly putting on a show, going green this time by. It's going to be that of Offerman. Fresh tires for himself as well as that of Nick Holland, Travis Butt, Medlin, Campbell. Top 5 completely different as we've had a ton of cars coming in. 18th on back, led by that of Scott Rickard and McNally. All came into pit road to get service done. Also, one of those drivers that tagged along was Kyle McCoy back in 25th position. We'll see. There's now a 26 lap difference between those drivers that just pitted and those that are out right now. This is what makes it fun when tire strategies get mixed in. Green flag in the air. Start of lap 74. It's going to be Derek Offerman. Green us to turn number 1. And here comes Butt. Hard charging to the inside, keeping it side by side for second place.
I got to give a shout out to Nick. He's up 28 positions right now, so that's a great run for him right now. But like you said, Sam, this is where it's going to get fun, because now we got to watch what Scott can do back here in the pack with fresh tires compared to the front tires, as I hear him beating and banging going on out there. As we're going 3 wide into turn number 1. Oh my goodness, hang on to it.
It's not safe up here. Drivers all over the place, and you got to be careful when you're going 3 wide. This driver in the middle, they could be a ping pong ball that just gets shoved around, and it's dangerous. We're seeing all the drivers side by side, starting it back up in the 8th place, dropping all the way back to practically last, is where we're seeing some drivers just not giving an inch, recognizing we're coming to halfway. It's time to get yourselves moving, because we're almost about 3 laps away from these drivers being inside the window to make it to the end if we start having a lot of cautions. So you want to make sure you're in the best position possible, gain time, gain positions. Scott Rickard, he's going to be trying to lead the charge of drivers with fresh tires. He's up to 12th, but boxed in by the 2 of Mike Lynch and also by the 4 of Aaron Hall.
And Scott there almost got into the wall, but he's working the outside, and I do believe this is a good strategy from that 05. Work the outside line. You got fresh tires, and he versus old tires. So he's really working the outside line here, Sam, and he's doing a very well job of it. And these drivers are playing it really smart. They understand, hey, Scott's got better tires than me. Why fight? See, I've always said, you got better tires than me, you're faster than me. Why am I going to fight you? There's no point in it. You're faster than me. I'm just going to let you go. And I fall, as Brett gets into the 13. And, do they save it?
Caution's going to wait for that, but I believe he might have saved it. Yeah, that's... Woo,
he
drivers,
said hello.
Frisky.
Eric, got the tail end of that one there, Sam. He's the 17 of Summers. He went in a little too deep, and the thing didn't stick, and it slid up and got him in the left rear and brought out a yellow. But he saved it, but it brought out a yellow. So unfortunately, we are on lap number, what are we at? Lap 79, caution number 5. I think I'm going to win a prize.
Yeah, we're still not even halfway. There's still tons of time for more wrecks to happen.
Yay, what do
That
I
was,
win?
another pat on the back like the last couple of
Woo!
times
I
that you've
love these.
won
I
these
keep
on.
getting pats on the back. You guys are so nice to me.
We already got to give you a pat on the back for the great productions that you do on top of great commentating and great odds picking on your part. It just continues to pile on your resume of things that you can do great at.
Oh no, let's not go there. I'm not great at it. I'm good at it, not great.
Some people would say otherwise.
Oh boy, what are we gonna do with you? Anyways, hopefully everybody's out there enjoying the show here. Let us know. Don't forget to hit that like button there on YouTube. We do much appreciate it, and it also helps out the league and us overall in general. You can also share this stream to your favorite social media platform and let them know to come out and root for your favorite driver, your favorite paint scheme here tonight. And if you're the first time here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And it helps us out as we are on our journey here. And Sam knows we're on our journey to get to 1K by the end of the year of subscribers. And if we do, Sam's going to call a race naked.
That's been called so many. Why is that always
I don't know.
what you go to, Lee goes to? Like, there's no real reason to do it. You guys just want me to do it for some reason, which I'm concerned.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm not the one who brought it up. Lee started it, not me.
Lee was having an off day that day, and he just decided to be weird.
Right. Well, I know we get 1K. Mac Attack, Zach Hall is going to rub macaroni and cheese all over him. That's what he said. I don't know. Don't ask me. Tune in every Saturday night and Sunday night to listen to Lee and ask him in chat what is up with that.
Yeah, that's the best question to ask Lee.
Ask Lee.
Don't even
me.
ask him for context. Just ask him, hey, what's up?
What's
going
man?
on?
What's up? Yep. So, well, we're on lap 82 of 200 here with these guys here. Caution number 6. And it's looking pretty... Well, this is short track racing, and we're definitely going to be seeing a little bit more of this. Like you said, tempers have not heated up yet. And I don't want to call it tempers, but I'm sure we're going to see tempers. But it's going to get down to the end here where people are going to be beating and banging for positions. You're running for a championship. You just sometimes can't sit back and be the nice guy. Now, early in the race, I say, yeah, you get down to 20 laps, that's a whole different subject. Then you're starting to fight for positions because every position counts, Sam.
Oh, it's not even the final 20 laps. I think it's the final 50 here. Short track racing. I mean, in a blink of an eye, we're already.
Well, I'm trying to be nice.
Almost gone with this thing. I mean, we're not even an hour into race time, and we're almost at halfway. We've already ran 83, about to be 84 laps. These drivers certainly have gotten to get a good feel of how this race is tempering up to be. As up front, it's going to be that Travis Butt getting a great launch for himself. Side by side, Offerman, Holland, Medlin, and Campbell, your top 5 as they enter turn number 1. And just like that, Holland's up to second. And then on the low line, Campbell, he's trying to get by that of the 31 of Trey Jackson. I don't know why. I haven't really seen Jackson really show flares of really greatness. He's been being good and consistent. But I just got a feeling Trey Jackson, he is always going to be my underdog pick going into every single race. And right now, 5th position, trying to battle back on Campbell. And with them side by side, it's now giving that of SRE Davis. They're now in the mix of things coming out of 2.
Wow, and the 31 of Trey there, we just talked about him. He got extremely tight going through 1 and 2. And thank God everybody didn't run him over there, because that's the other thing that we do. We talked about throttle control, man. I mean, you get back on the gas too soon. There is a point in a turn, ladies and gentlemen, that you get back on the gas and you don't get back on the gas. And if you hit that gas pedal, never mind. We are under
There they
yellow.
go again. Mark Beverly involved. Oh no, one of our fan favorites, the 223 of Brian Burchett, also involved in this thing, and Burchett lost his hood.
Oh man, we will go with Brian here on the Freaky Fast replay. See exactly what happened with that 223 and a NRA paint scheme. Patriotic. See what happens here. It looks like going down turn number 1.
Well, we're going to be seeing our good
it's right there in
friend.
front.
Yeah, that's Mark Beverly. He got tapped and nosed around by that of Brian Grimm. And Mark, once again, used as a T-bone piece. And it's one of those things where you hate to see cars being involved in these types of wrecks, but kind of just falls into place with some of these drivers. And especially with the car going high, there's just nowhere to go in those situations. As Bill Dart, also another one of those drivers, was able to try to sneak by the best that he could.
Well, that's the thing here too, Sam, is this is not a self-cleaning track. It's not like a Dover or anything where the cars go high, they'll go back down low. The apron on these in the turns, the degree of turns, it's not self-cleaning. Cars that go up towards the wall normally stay up at the wall here at Richmond. So that, that's a key factor that these guys got to play with here and know. And sometimes, unfortunately, you're at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh yeah, and I think in that situation, I was really looking at Brian, the 223. It just drivers in different mindsets, because Bill Dart had enough time to lock down his brakes, slow down, get around the wreck without any incident. And then 4 cars back from him, you've got the 223 coming in and not thinking about his brakes at all, thinking that he could just drive on the high side and get by everyone before the yellow flies. And instead of trying to conserve his car, he decided to get reckless, and it utterly just backfired for himself. Well, Bill Dart, he's still got a running car and able to keep on chugging along as the 223. He's going to have to come in, get some service done, and this is wasting him track time, and he's actually not able to come in. He's going to have to just deal with no hood on that machine and try to just chug along back in 30th position, back where some of the drivers have a lot of damage in front of them.
Looking at Scott here right now. He pitted on lap 69, and he has now finally made himself up to almost into the top 5. But it took him about 30 laps to get there. So that's something drivers got to take a note towards the end of the race, Sam. When you got maybe 40 laps to go, do you go in and take your last set of tires? Can you make it through the field in 40 laps on fresh tires versus old tires? From what I'm seeing right now, no, I don't see it happening. It's taken a long time for Scott to get back up into the lead.
Yeah, and also it's going to be one of those, coin toss moments of, do I want to stay out and risk, running out of fuel at this point? As if you come in now, you should be right on the tail end of making it, but you're also going to be placed back where there are heavily damaged cars and the possible chance of being caught up in someone else's mess. Mm-hmm. As we've been seeing drivers getting a lot more aggressive in these last couple of laps of recognizing we're coming close to the halfway marker. We need to start getting up front, get that track position as soon as possible, because track position, you can hold off, stay up in the top 10 if you've got some good track position, and we're seeing that right now. Travis Butt with his aggression up to first, second going to be Nick Holland with that of Andrew Medlin, Derek Offerman, and Brad Davis, your top 5, with Ken Campbell, Scott Rickard, Trey Jackson, Chris Essery, Brett Summers, your top 10, as the pace car pulls off, and green flag in the air as Travis Butt takes us to the green. A great start for himself, already up to a car and a half length over that of Holland. And Medlin, he's getting a little bit overzealous there. He drives a little bit too hard and now going to backfire. Here comes Davis up to third.
Davis is going to look down on the inside going into turn 3 and 4 as, wow, man, that 12 is trying to hold him off, but here comes Scott. You open up the door, he's going to try to take it over going down into turn 1.
Scott Rickard's got the fresher rubber, and he's going to be diving it down low. Also, you got to remember that Scott Rickard and Brad Davis, drivers that are on the same stint and same tires as one another. That's why they're cutting through the field with ease, watching everyone else have to get a little bit too aggressive diving into these corners, and that's what hurt Medlin, losing both those positions. The drivers had fresher tires.
We are going to go back here to the 88. I was just watching what the 88 was doing there, Sam. He was up leading a lot of laps too, and running into the front runners in the top 3. And now he's back in 13th position, stuck in lap traffic, trying to figure out how to work traffic and the lap traffic cars to get himself back up to the front.
Yeah, I mean, with Richmond, it's one of those you kind of have to risk your car. Going to these corners, you got to put your nose below the driver you're trying to get by. If you're going to make the pass, unless you've got extremely fresher tires, then you can make that outside line work. But you've got to get aggressive, and that's kind of why we're seeing that of Scott Rickard really moving forward as almost up battling for second. Scott almost decided to make it 3 wide and thought better of it, as still hard racing action up front. As still got to give credit to Holland. He's all on his own trying to defend 2 extremely fast cars, and now they're going to be 3 wide coming out of turn 4, and Holland's going to be pushing Davis up into the wall.
We just caught that on the rear camera there, Sam. Yeah, you just heard it. It put him right up into the wall, and now here comes Davis. He's going to try to look underneath, coming out of 2, and he doesn't get the run. We'll see what he can do coming out of going into turn 3 and 4, as it looks like he's going to get up underneath them.
Trying his best currently, and you want to be on the inside, trying to push these cars high, lose that grip, and feel like they need to get out of the throttle so they don't go into the outside wall. Now this is going to give you an opportunity to Scott Rickard to come on the inside of Travis Butt. Butt's got a great shot to try to defend here, but at the same time, you're kind of a sitting duck with the way that the tire situations have ran down. About 20 lap difference is that between the 00 and the 05. And for some of the viewers might be wondering, why do we keep on talking about tires and tire wear and the different laps? The harder you run into these corners, the more wheel input you have to put in, the more that you start to go from a tire that was kind of square to rounded on the edges. And that means you can't really hold the line you were holding before, because the grip levels make it where your car just wants to drift up. And what we like to call plowing, when it's snowing, you got a plow truck, it goes straight and goes through. When you've got tires that don't want to turn, you go straight up into the wall instead of turning through the corners. So these drivers, older tires, they got to be careful. And we're starting to see it here. The 00, he's starting to plow on the entry of the corner, which is hurting his exits. We can't get on the throttle, and it's utterly giving an opportunity for that of Scott Rickard here, who's trying to just set up the 00 to make a pass here in the next 5 laps.
Good analogy there, Sam. Yeah, I mean, and we also, when you're plowing like that and your tires are not gripping, you also, Scott's got to deal with dirty air. These cars do have dirty air, ladies and gentlemen, and you got to deal with that then too. So if you're going in hard and you're plowing already and you're sliding and the front tires aren't gripping and you're dealing with dirty air, trust me, before you know it, that thing's going to head right towards the wall, like you said.
Yeah, it's just a handful, and it's a mess for sure for them to deal with. And we're seeing that Scott Rickard, he's still not able to make the pass. And a driver that you were touching on, Timmy McNally, he is now moved up to 8th place after getting by of Trey Jackson and Campbell. And he had to work almost a second to catch up to that of Chris Essery. And Essery's, he's up now, going to be up to 7th. And looking at how the 33 is attacking, might be moving up to 12 out of the way. Get a little bit aggressive here, which could give an opportunity for the 88 to possibly come in and swoop 2 positions.
Well, he's trying. These guys are still battling up front. They got great battling all the way back through the field, as it looks like we're going to get single file. I'm actually Christopher here in the 53. He's actually had a good race so far here too. Haven't talked much about him, running in 18th position, up 9 positions of the start of tonight's race. So he's looking clean, and that's the key. I think some of these drivers out here are just worrying about, let's make it through. Look, I'm not good at Richmond. I can drive Richmond, but let's just make it to the end of the race and not have my car turn into a demolition derby. You know what I mean? And just finish. And it looks like right now Christopher is one of them drivers that is like, hey, look, I know I'm a top 10 car, and that's probably about as far as I'm going to go. So I'm just going to ride and take it easy and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, for that of Wade, he started back in 27th qualifying, now up to 18th. So a net gain for himself and trying to continue on with this great run. And he's got the driver in front of him. That's going to be the 13 of Eric Schwarr. And Schwarr, one of those 3 drivers that I touched on, of that of Kyle McCoy, Derek Offerman, and also of that of the 13 of Schwarr. So far, these first 3 races, they've been able to finish in the top 5 for this whole entire season so far. But the question is, when will that streak end? And it's not looking good for the 13. Has no back bumper, and Wade's trying to set up to make a pass here. But for Derek Offerman, he was looking like he's good to finish in the top 10 again, and also looking for his first top 5 for the 20 machine. As up front, side-by-side action for the lead. Scott Rickard's finally been able to get side-by-side to the inside of the 00. Scott is coming, and it's going to take a little bit of work here, but he's finally at the quarter panel where it really matters if he's going to make a pass.
We can use that dirty air, side draft a little bit. Even though this is not a super speedway, you can use it a little bit to slow down the vehicle, but not too much here at Richmond. But you can see he's definitely trying. He's definitely trying to slow down Butts there in that 0-0 as they are side by side coming across the start finish line. And wow, that's almost a tie. Oh, and that's what I was worried.
A little bit of contact. And no, overcorrection for Butt. Hard into the wall. And here comes lap traffic. The 00 now finally locking down his brakes as everyone scatters around. And luckily, no one else is involved so far. But I'm going to continue to watch because we've seen some silly things already tonight.
And he doesn't look happy right now, Sam. And we caught that live. We don't even have to go back on the replay because I was just saying side draft, side draft, side draft. And you could see Scott, he just kept working that side draft, Sam. You could see it. He kept pushing up a little bit, trying to slow him down the backstretch, you know, and try to get down into the corner. Now, did Travis come down a little bit? Maybe, maybe not. I'll let, you know, I'm just calling it the way I see it. I think he was trying to get the side draft to slow him down.
You know what that wreck kind of reminded me of? That one Dylan Hart Jr. Kyle Busch incident where Jr. was leading and Kyle was down below. I mean, I know in the moment a lot of people thought, hey, Kyle wrecked Jr., but it kind of looked very similar to where they weren't trying to wreck one another, but contact was bound to happen with how close these guys were racing. And now most of the field's coming into pit road, but Kyle McCoy's deciding to stay out as well as Wade and others staying out. We got about six drivers in total deciding to stay out. This is a gutsy call on their part.
Well, they pitted on lap 69, lap 70, so yeah, very gutsy call, very gutsy call. But it might be, very gutsy call. Try to figure it out. That's why I'm not out on the track. I'm just an announcer.
Yeah. I mean, for Kyle McCoy, he's not coming back in because he's saving his final set for the final 50 laps of this race. So he's only got one more set left. He's got to be really calculated on where he wants to place it. For Wade, he still has 2 more tires to work with. Dart, I don't know if he's got any more sets to go on. I think every single pit stop I've seen the 77 have, he's taken 4 tires, and he's already made 3 pit stops. So that could be already all his sets. Other drivers that have come in currently right now, our top 8 all have made service. Mark Beverly, we know he's been heavily damaged, still heavily damaged for the 51. He made his pit stop. Those are the freshest tires of our top 8, besides those that have just pitted on this most recent incident. But our top 8, that's Kyle McCoy, Chris Wade, Bill Dart, Travis Dart, Ryan Chu, Mark Beverly, Brian Burchett, who also with Velez, going to be in 8th, but Velez pulls into pit road. Not surprised by that. The 67 has been having a very off night, which now puts Scott Rickard in 8th position. Means he'll be starting on the high line, and on his inside, on the low end row behind him, that's going to be that of Brad Davis and also Nick Holland right behind the 05. So our top 10, it's going to get dicey, especially with the tire difference that we're seeing here, as the tire difference is about 42 laps between that of Kyle McCoy and that of Scott Rickard back in 8th place.
Last time we seen this was, 26 lap difference? So we go from 26 to 42. And we seen, and I talked about it earlier, Sam, it took 20-some laps for Scott to work up through the field. Now, he's not starting back in 17th position like he did this previous time that he made a pit stop. So that's going to help him big time there to be able to work traffic. But, again, traffic becomes so key here. I mean, you really got to work it. Even fresh tires, it doesn't matter if you have fresh tires. If you can't utilize them the way they need to be, what's the point of having them? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Completely. I mean,
Yep.
if you really can't capitalize on the fresh rubber and make as many passes as possible, especially with the potential of a lot more cautions coming out, this could be the final pit stop for the drivers that just pitted. They still have a lot of sets for a lot of the guys that just pitted. They still have one more to go with. But if this race stays green, they're good to make it to the end. But Kyle McCoy, Chris Wade, they're going to lead the charge here. Do you want to give note? Adam Allen, 2 weeks in a row, finishing back outside of the top 35 as he's now parked it for the day, as well as that Messick. He has parked it our top 35 still out there on track as McCoy and Wade, they pull away but go back to around 9th. They're through 2, 3 wide as here comes Brad Davis on the inside, and they are still shuffling. Gotta be careful as Brian Chu almost got spun around, and now it's a complete jam-packed session from 15th on back.
Oh my goodness, as we're going to look going 3 wide into turn 1, not recommended.
Oh,
As we see smoke. And, the 88's around.
McNally making contact, other drivers piling in. It just gets worse. Travis Butt involved, as well as the 9. Oh no. It just keeps going on. Oz Beverly involved in this as well, and he was already involved in that heavy damage. And in one fell swoop, some of our front runners, they are heavily damaged and have to come back into pit road to get service done.
Hey, you can see cold tires. This is what this is all boiled down to here, Sam, is everybody on cold tires. And it looks like the 88, oh man, he dove. Wow, he dive bombed that turn. He literally...
he tried to get by the 51 and Mark Beverly. Mark Beverly has just got to catch a break at this point. He's not getting that 0 incident. And there's the 223, no hood, already heavy damage. And then, the 2 comes sliding in. There's Bud and others. And you're just starting to sense, I touched on it before, when you're seeing an incident, half the field is recognizing, get on the brakes, there's smoke. And the other half is doing the term we like to call ARCA braking it, where drivers are just full throttling through these wrecks and really not even thinking about slowing down, which causes these parking lot wrecks where we just see drivers running into one another. And that was your Freaky Fast broadcasting carnage replay, and not surprised that we're already seeing more wrecks with bigger numbers here late in the race.
Yay, I win. Pat on the back.
Figure out, was there going to be more than 6 cautions, as last season for the trucks race they only had 21 drivers, 3 wrecks, 3 cautions in total. That race was, as here tonight we're already up to 8. We're just over halfway, soon to be 3/4 into the race, as right now Kyle McCoy, Wade, and Scott Rickard had already moved up to 3rd place as drivers are coming into pit road, still waiting for making their final stop possibly here. It's Kyle McCoy and Wade, as well as you could throw in that of Mark Beverly. Beverly going to be back in 7th place, but the rest of the field making their final pit stops already. This is going to cause some tension up front with some of those older tires, and now throwing even fresher rubber as Bill Dart, Ryan Chu, they're going to have fresh rubber back there in about 24th position, but the difference in tires is very minute, so they're not going to be able to really capitalize on fresh rubber as much as we're going to be seeing that of Scott Rickard on our top 2.
Just watching and paying attention here, Sam. I mean, I'm like with you with Mark right now in that 51. He needs to catch a break. That thing has just been a pinball all over the place, and still up running in the top 7. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with short track racing is you can have, a lot of outside aero kind of damage where you're really not worrying about it as much. As long as your engine is still at 100% level and you can run as hard as you want, you're still set in prime territory to run well and up front. And that's what we're seeing from Mark Beverly, that has been tossed around and finally feeling a little bit secure for himself as drivers are getting stacked up. We'll be going green this next time by. But Robert, we've seen a lot of different strategies. Drivers now finally using some of their final sets. A lot of the field still having an extra set to work with. I mean, we were throwing out lap 50 to 30 could be the range if you're going to make your final pit stop. But now it's the question of, even if you've got an extra set of tires or a faster pair in your pit box, Do you even want to risk going to the back of the field? Because we've seen that it's just going to get worse from here on out.
It's going to get worse, Sam, but my problem is with going back and doing this. I get it, but it takes so much to try to work lap traffic. Lap traffic right now is more hindering than it is being out front on old tires. I won't go back there, be honest with you, unless, I mean, see, that's such a, because you don't want to leave a set of tires as we go back green here, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to leave a set of tires in pit road if you have them. I mean, you want to use them, but again, like you said, when do you make that? Is it 50 laps to go? If we stay green, it makes it so much easier to make these calls. But when we have constant yellows like this, it's very hard. As yeah, I'm moving with you there as we were looking 3 wide there for a second, but it's hard to make that call then to go in and give up that track position.
Yeah, as now we're starting to see Chris Wade. He's now on the outside line. He's going to be dropping back as Offerman gets out of hand for himself back in 8th place. And drivers got to be careful. Even with fresh rubber, we always have to touch on cold tires. It is the weather we haven't really touched about, but it is 73 degrees ambient temperature. The track temp, 77. And when we're used to track temps that are 90, 100, 130 at times, 77 track temp is practically ice cold, and it takes a couple of more laps to finally warm up these tires. As up front, Scott Rickard back up to the leading point, but Brad Davis, in the last 60, 70 laps, he has figured out how to stay with the 0.5 and still on the back bumper. Watch out, Nick Holland as well. He's been looking quick, but he's got to figure out how to get by McCoy as fast as possible before our front 2 go, but caution. And Mark Beverly once again.
Mark, I'm sorry, buddy. I love you to death, man, but oh my God. I'd be out there screaming and yelling, going, "Guy, just stay away from me."
Oh. More drivers involved. And, you know, a factor we also touched on, older tires versus new tires. There's the difference of brake zones entering these corners. I think that's exactly what happened here. As 23 tried his best not to, that's Grim, tried not to run into Mark Beverly, but when you come in at different speeds, carnage is going to happen. Also heavy contact for the 17 of Somers, and well,
I mean, that really even wasn't even that was a love tap.
A little bit of a love tap, and then you find yourself, you know, overcorrecting the smallest little of a hit, because I think in that situation, I think if Mark just let off the throttle, he would have been okay to save it, but he kept his foot in there, and just a little bit too much of wheel inputs and overcorrected into the outside wall. Goes to 51, and with that hard of a hit, it could be Mark Beverly's night put up here, but he's still just chugging along.
Oh, why
he's
not?
glittering.
I mean,
His engine's not gone. It's not blown up, but he's out there still.
I'd keep plugging along too until that thing blew up. What's the point right now? I mean, right? He's done hit everything out there.
Well, 9 cautions in just about 125 laps, and I'm going to warn you, folks. We are mentally trying to prepare for Martinsville, 200 laps. That is the week that we're all trying to mentally prepare for. We've had a 200 lap here on Freeky Fast Broadcasting for the NAISCC Cup Series. About a month and a half back. That race was 20 cautions for 200 laps. And I'm wondering if we're going to see a similar record for that race. We're only 9 cautions in this race. There's still plenty of time. I think caution every 5-6 laps. Yeah, we still got about 6-7 cautions in us here in this race.
Oh God, what are you trying to do, Sam?
Hey, you already jinxed us 3 times tonight. It's my turn.
It's your turn now. I gotta hand the torch over. We're Freaky Fast Olympics right now.
As the trials are going on right now, I know it's been an interesting time for the trials. Getting excited for the Olympics.
I am. Talking about it a little bit, Sam. I love watching the Winter Olympics. I love watching the Summer Olympics. I'll be keyed into the TV 24/7 on my phone or at home. I'm just a big Olympics guy. I just like it.
Yeah, I think it's another way of trying to get the world back to a normalcy after
Amen.
the
Yep.
crazy year and a half everyone's had. So it's
Hmm.
great to see the Olympics coming back here. I think my favorite has to be track and field and swimming.
Oh,
I think
really?
that's my favorite to watch. Yeah. I
Uh,
wanted to get into track and field when I was like in high school, but the short shorts just turned me off to where I was like, nah, I'm good.
I was thinking of that song, but I can't sing it right now because I don't want to get my toss. But anyways, but yeah, I know what you mean. I like swimming too. But I like that they're bringing in like skateboarding and a whole bunch of different things now. You know,
Yeah.
for the first time, I like all that stuff. I enjoy watching track and field. I'm not a fan of it, to be honest with you, but I'll watch it. You know, but I'm like a soccer. I like watching the soccer and things like that.
Oh, you know what was my favorite that they took away like years ago? Softball. Softball was my
Softball.
favorite.
Yeah.
I wish they would bring softball back. That was a great sport. I know they took it away. Hopefully they'll bring it back. But off of the Olympics, onto the racing action. Scott Rickard up front. As the 14, he just was standing still, gonna clog up the whole entire outside line. Brad Davis, got to be careful for the 14 next time. Don't want to be making those types of mistakes. Giving still breath to the driver of the 7, Kyle McCoy, on the much older tires, still out here on track. He cannot pit until lap 150. That's when he has only one set left, so he is in a spot of sink or swim right now with older tires currently for that of Kyle McCoy. In 4th place, great job for himself, but the rest of the field, they're still all piled up and from 8th on back. And oh boy, that of Ken Campbell, Trey Jackson, they still stay side by side. I think, oh no, behind them, the 33, contact made, and woo-hoo-hoo, somehow pulls away from making contact with Brett Somers. Oh, Chris Essery, you are absolutely a maniac, and somehow he holds on.
How in the world?
I don't know. I don't know how he held on. I know the whole entire 33 fan club and chat's gonna love this save. As here's our replay, and you're gonna be seeing it coming hard into the corner and just gonna get a little bit of tap. What we've seen all night long, drivers just digging it a little bit too hard. Contact made, and that was the 35 of Metcalf, and sliding and hard
Wow.
back. Well, I mean, what we would call an overcorrection, but a calculated turn away from Brett Somers, saving the whole entire front end of the car. And what could have been disaster for the 33. He's still alive. He's going to be back in 25th position, but he still has a set to work with. The race isn't over for that of Chris in the 33 machine.
Beautiful, beautiful save. I mean, that's talent driving right there, if you ask me. But now my question is to you here is, where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? Who are
Where
we
did Chris
talking?
go?
No, we were talking about what's his name that needed to pit on lap 50.
Oh, Kyle McCoy. He just came into pit road now, and he's
Never
just coming
mind.
out.
He just answered my question then, because I was like,
Yeah.
well, you know what? Maybe now is the time for you to make that pit stop. You know, don't wait any longer now. Go in and get your last set of tires, fix up your car the best you can, and see if you can work through the field, because it's going to take you a while to get through this traffic. It just is. You can't do it within 10 laps. You're looking at 40 to 50 laps to work through the traffic. So, and that's staying green. You got this race has got to stay green for him now.
Yeah, looking at the field, all the drivers that had been staying out, trying to stay out as long as possible, they have all now come into pit road. So everyone in the top 19, all in the same set of tires. Bill Dart, though, in 16th position. He's got himself 7-lap fresher tires than the other drivers around him, but we haven't really seen a lot of speed from the 77. But he's another one of those drivers running a patriotic scheme. Again, it's patriotic night, as Independence Day on the July 4th is right around the corner. Drivers putting out their best stars and stripes schemes out there, and you, the audience, you could be a factor on who gets the best scheme. So in chat, type in what car number you've seen out here that has the best scheme so far. It could be a driver that you've been rooting for all season long, you're going to continue to root for, or it could be someone else. We just want to make sure the driver that you fans think have the best scheme. We'll even put our inputs in after the race, as we're still ourselves trying to figure out who has the best scheme out here. We certainly know who the best driver's been. That's the 05.
Yeah, 05. Brad's been looking really good. But Nick, I still got to give a shout out to Nick Hollins. I mean, he's up 28 positions. He's held his ground in that 68. The race started out a little rough for him there, Sam, but overall, in general, you got to give the guy props. I mean, he's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, for Nick, he had during practice third fastest car during practice, or top 3 of practice times. That was Scott Rickard, Timmy McNally, Nick Holland, Derek Offerman, and Paul Dr. House was our top 5 fastest during practice. And then qualifying came around, qualified back in 31st position. He just had an awful qualifying time, had to work all day long and up where he belongs. I think the driver that's giving me the biggest surprise has to be Brad Davis. Qualified 5th, but he was the 12th fastest driver during practice, so he's finding that race pace for the 14. We'll see how long these drivers up front can hold out. Pace car is off, and we are green. 05 Scott Rickard just waiting for the pace car to pull off, and then he takes off from the rest of the field. I think Nick Collins recognizing that side by side for second place.
They battle second place right now, and it looks like Davis in that 14 is going to pass, and they're going to get single file here going down into turn 3 and 4, and it looking good so far for the top 5 right there. As we go back to the 15th of Ken.
Yellow. Kyle I believe he got avoided there, but it's going to be that of Mike Lynch, the 2. I think he might have gotten a little bit of help here. And I think he might have from the 00. Very close between them, but just giving a simple tap. And Lynch, contact with the 9 who slid into pit road. He's going to ask for a black flag clear, as that is a non-safe pit entry for himself.
Oh, yeah, and you see, man, just love taps, Sam. Just love taps. I mean, that literally wasn't much, and look what it did. It just upsetted the car.
Oh, it absolutely it's the simple taps. I mean, these cars are on the edge at all times. We talk about throttle control and making sure that you get on the throttle at the right times. Maybe do a burp where you press the throttle down, release, press it down, release, and then finally when you feel like the car is at its balanced and you can finally get on the throttle without turning and getting loose and spinning out into the infield or too tight where it's going to go up into the wall. Once you find that sweet spot, you finally can take off. But if you get hit in any certain way, it's kind of like driving out there when there's a lot of wind on the freeway and your car feels like you get pushed and just it rattles the car by the wind. Now if you're being shoved by someone, that little shift while you're turning also just makes things so dramatic and can cause someone to get loose like we saw there. These drivers under a lot of pressure to run well and get aggressive here later on, because 3/4 of the race, it's gone in a blink of an eye. We are coming up to being racing for almost an hour and a half. It took us only 40 minutes to get through 80 laps of this race. But ever since then, the next 60, it's taken us about the same time. There's been a lot of cautions, drivers trying to get themselves situated in a spot where they can try to gain time on the drivers in front of them, but it has been a lot of work. And so far, Scott Rickard, he has figured out something to be up front on the rest of the field that used to be battling up third or back. They are struggling to hold any type of positions because they just have either a poor tire or fuel strategy run, or they're being bullied around.
Yep. I say I agree with you there, Sam. Track position now here, everybody, is going to be key, as we're getting pretty close to 50 laps to go here. If you're going to make your bed, you got to make it now. It's either make the pit stop, go in and get your tires, your last set, and hopefully you can stay out of calamity and all the wrecks and not get involved in anything and work yourself way back up through the field. But to be honest with you, if I was these front 5, maybe 6, I wouldn't pit. I'd stay out now. I'd just run it out. You're better off just staying out.
Yeah, I mean, they have an extra set of tires if needed, but
not worth it.
A lot of the drivers up front, they are good to make it to the end. So
right.
With all the cautions, that's also helped their fuel run out to make sure that they can make it. But looking at some of the guys that have pitted on the previous caution to this, that was going to be Mark Beverly, also that of Chris Wade. They're up to 24th and 26th, and for Beverly. That car is riddled with damage, but still chugging along, and we'll see how many more positions he can gain. A driver I'm surprised that hasn't really gained that many positions, Kyle McCoy. He was not able to capitalize very well and actually has dropped and lost 2 positions back to 27th for the 7. Another one of those drivers that I marked down has been consistent, finishing in the top 10 every race so far this season, such as Kyle McCoy, Derek Offerman, and Eric Schwarr. Those 3 drivers have been the most consistent up front all season long, but the consistency might be running out for 2 of our 3, as Offerman still up in 4th place and looking strong to finish in the top 4 and in the top 5.
Yeah, and like you said there with Kyle, having a great season so far, but right now he's back here in, like you said, in 27th position. He did just make a pit stop. Looks like he had a 14-second pit stop, so I would imagine that he got some damage fixed, and we'll have to see if he can make it up through the field. I mean, he's got, 50, 55 laps to do it.
Certainly enough time to get himself up in the top, enough time in the top 10, but we'll see if he can make any other charges. Side by side for 2nd place, Brad Davis, Holland. They continue to duke it out, but still not sure who is the fastest of those 2. The driver that's loving that, it's got to be Ricard. He continues to try to pull away. Drop back to 6th place. Ken Campbell, he's got to be watching out. It's Dr. House, Paul House, 7th place on the outside, coming with a head of steam. He's now going to be trying to make some moves as he's side by side with Trey Jackson. And behind them, you've got that of Schwarr, as well as the 35 of Jason Metcalf. Metcalf getting a little bit squirrely, but he still holds on. Thinking about making it 3 wide, but backs out of that situation, and you're just seeing the drivers on the inside. They've been so aggressive as House into the outside wall. He's going to be losing ground, as it now might force these drivers to go 3 wide. And oh my goodness, it's going to be dangerous. Schwarr, he's got to be careful where he places the 13, as there's still side-by-side action. This is all going on to see who's going to be finishing up in the top in 7th place on back.
Yeah, they keep on battling and battling. I mean, all the way back from 7th on back here with the number 4 of Aaron. They're side by side. He's battling it. Well, now he's got Nate here in the 25. You want to talk about paint schemes? I don't do this stuff, call good paint schemes, but I do got to give a shout out to that paint scheme. I really do like that paint scheme.
We were given a list of what the paint schemes were going to look like for some of these drivers coming into this race, and that was the one that really stuck out to me.
Yep.
It's a good-looking scheme that of Nate Lynch is running for himself.
Well,
and,
the rear end don't look good, but...
Nope, and also the driver behind him, that of Max Ward, his rear end absolutely destroyed. And you got Brett Sommers, who's been avoiding some wrecks, collecting in others. He's now in 14th. Trying to get up into the top 10 if possible. But certainly the drama that we were seeing, the battle for 7th place, it is settled down. Drivers now all single filed out, and really looking at some of the drivers on where they might be battling side by side. You got to go back to 19th place, where you've got our Daytona winner, Mike Watts. He's got a wall of drivers. Travis Dart, that of Chris Wade, as well as Chris Essery. I'm looking at Essery and that 33 machine stuck on the high line. He's got Butt going to his inside. I don't see him moving forward as well as he was earlier.
Alright, I don't know if we lost Sam or not.
I'm back. It was a quick blink, and we're back type of minutes. I thought I was gone too.
He's taking a break. He needed a drink.
Everything went dark. I was like, oh no, we're back. But yeah, looking at the field right now, Travis Butt, he is cruising along with the freshest tires. Also Wade with fresh tires, but they're stuck in 19th position and 20th for the both of them. And they're about, for that of Wade, he's 6.8 seconds back from the leader. And every single time he's making a pass on the driver in front of him, he's losing another 10th or so. That's meaning for Wade that is losing more ground to the leader, and a chance to win this race could be a little bit out of the grasp of the 53. Even though there's less than 50 laps to go, and it seems like there's plenty of time, short track racing wise, he's going to need another caution to get a little bit closer to that of Scott Rickard to have a shot at this win.
I agree. I agree. A caution definitely would help him, but at the same time, it could hurt him because then you bottle everybody up and you could wind up losing more ground than you're going to gain if you stay green. You know what I mean? So it's a coin flip, like you like to say, Sam. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's short track racing at its best.
It really is, and we're starting to see drivers. Travis Butt now he's making some moves in front of Wade. You got Bill Dart. Bill Dart, one of the drivers, 7 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field, 16th up to first, all on the same strategy of tires. 45 laps ago, that's when they made their final pit stop, and here comes Wade to the inside, going to be passing that of Dart. Also, Butt might be thinking about pinching it to the inside. They are going to be 3 wide, almost 4 wide at times, and it's going to be Dart stuck in the middle, dropping back in somehow. They get single filed out on the inside for those drivers that get things a little frisky. And now on the tail end of that of Butt, it's Kyle McCoy. He's going to just stay behind, try to let the drivers in front of him kind of be the spearhead, allowing a way for them to make the moves forward and hoping that the traffic doesn't try to make any abrasive moves to pinch them, slow them down in any way, which allows the 3-car train of Wade, Butt, McCoy really to make their charge through the field.
Well, they're still battling back here, trying to get single file as we're going to look here with Kyle in that number 7, up 16 positions, trying to work the traffic going through turn 3 and 4 here, as he's got Butts right in front of him, and man, Butts is battling that 65 of George right now. He's not giving an inch right now. Oh, as they got, and they touch.
Yeah, not surprised. Kovacic's been just absolutely making Butt challenge for every position, and Watts makes contact. Wait, hold on. And oh my goodness, I thought the 65 was gone. And that's right in front of the 33, fan favorite Essery, who is continuously just waiting and looming for any opportunity to move forward. But whew, Kovacic's got to be careful for that 65. He almost saw his race go up in smoke in that one move.
Yeah, he got let known that somebody was behind him, didn't he? As he's going to take it across the start-finish line, take it down to turn 1, and you can see right now he is just pinned on the high side, and that is not what. Now he's going to finally get down to that yellow line, and that's where you want to be. Right there's where the speed is. You want to come down here into turn 3 and 4, get your left front tire down close to that yellow line, not touch it because you can upset the car, and then you come out really easy out of turn 4 and you send it sail back down into turn number 1 and 2. Same thing, get it down to that yellow line, coast it back out to the wall without hitting it, as we've seen the 33 just smack the wall. You don't want to do that.
You really don't, especially this late in the run. I believe also for the 33, he's already used his fast repair, so any damage you get now, you're going to have to repair it yourself. But the drivers up front still seeing some great racing action as lap cars now in the way of our leaders, and we're seeing the 29 of Hooper out of the way. But for our front runners, this is certainly going to be the time for them to worry about lap traffic the most, especially for Scott. The next closest driver in front of him is going to be of Haas Beverly, who's already a lap down, heavy nose damage for Scott Rickard, so he's going to have to take some time to get by him. But just want to give note, that of Chris Wade, he has moved up now a total of 6 positions since we touched on the fact that he needed to make a lot more moves about 15-20 laps ago. He's made up a lot of positions, but he's also lost over 1.5 seconds since we touched on it. He's now 8.5 seconds, a little bit more than that. As Rick up front, it's going to be that of, oh my goodness, Rex piling in, Grim, others, Metcalf, House, Wade, the 33 had to come to a complete stop. They're still piling in.
Carnage.
Oh no, the big one strikes as up front, hard contact for some of the drivers inside of our top 10.
I don't even know. My scoring pylon just went crazy.
It looked like the initial contact was from the 15 of Campbell and House making contact as they were battling up in the top 10. And then calamity ensued of the drivers just piling in, and It was side-by-side racing, and a little bit of a bump forced both drivers contact and just launching the 18 back into the field and nowhere for the rest of the field to go.
He went flying across the track.
Yeah, and it's just the angle of the wall where he hit, and also the momentum bouncing off of Campbell as well. It just launches both cars back onto the racing surface and just making a wall of cars. And our biggest wreck of the day, and a lot of these drivers that already used their fast repairs, it's going to be a long time in pit road.
Yeah, unfortunately. Let's see what happens. Let's go with the 35. And you can see up front, man, I mean, he was just riding, taking it easy. Oh, he got loose coming out, too. He was already going crazy sideways. Yeah, he's done lost it. I think he seen the wreck in front and hit the brakes, and it just upset the car there, Sam, and he went spinning around on a tippy top.
Yeah, and you're going to be seeing here, trying to get through was McCoy. He went into this. I mean, just looking at all the drivers that were piling into this wreck, I mean, all the guys that had pitted previously to try to use their final set of tires, they're now junked up because they were back in traffic where it had been a danger zone for most of these drivers. And now, interesting calls for a lot of these guys that have come into pit road. Brad Davis, he's up to 9th, but a driver that came through pit road, and I think he might have missed his box, that's Nick Holland, who is put in a very precarious spot because he might have to stay up front with this choice to stay out.
This is interesting. I didn't think they would actually pit this late in the race. Scott has went down on lap 167. It's going to put him back in 6th position here, Sam. He took his last set of tires and filled it up with fuel. Huh.
Yeah, no, it's a great call. I mean, like we've been touching on, is you had the smaller group that had been pitting off sequence, which had been putting them back around 29, 26 when they come back out of pit road. And then you have this larger group of about 20 drivers that's always led by Scott Rickard. And with that larger group that comes in, it means you're not losing as much ground when you're up front. So instead of being 20 cars back, you're now only 6 cars back as Scott Rickard in 6th place. So this works out perfectly for himself. For Timmy McNally, also Brian Chu, though, they're in very difficult spots and where they're at because McNally, 51 lap old tires, same with that of Cole Grimes. Grimes and also of Watts. Holland also in a similar situation, and Offerman, our leader. So they might be banking on it being a caution to the end. Mm-hmm. So there's really no chance for Rickard to move his way forward. But we've seen this the last 2 weeks. It doesn't matter where really Scott Rickard is, but whenever we see him starting late in a race, 3rd row back, he finds a way to get up front and be challenging for the lead.
Well, stuck around this long. Here we go. About 25 laps to go here very shortly as Derek Offerman is going to take off from that 20. Home Depot machine over Holland's going down into turn 1 and 2. And really clean start there from the front runners right now. But now, the odds, well, look at this. Never mind. I was just going to say, what's Scott going to do? How long is it going to take him to get there? Well, I think within the next 4 laps, he's going to be there.
Yeah, there's nothing really these drivers can do. Like I said, the top 5 were banking on a quick caution entering turn 1 to force possibly other drivers to make pit stops. But here comes that difficulty of spinning in the back. It's going to be Schwarr hard into the inside wall. He'll be coming back onto the racing surface. We stay green, but the 13 just losing 10 positions in the blink of an eye. And now stuck 3 wide are the drivers back in 20th place. But up front, Scott Rickard, he finally made the pass on Holland as Holland losing more ground. And now the lead, that of Offerman to the outside. Here comes Rickard to the point. And in a blink of an eye, in just 5 laps, Scott Rickard went from 5th up to the lead. And watch out behind him, it's Brad Davis. He hasn't been able to make the pass just yet, but he's been just nipping at the heels of the 05 all race long. Just one clean bump could get him the lead.
I don't think his car's strong enough for to catch Rickard's there. I think his car's just too strong right now. I think Brad just needs to settle down and just, just run second place, Sam. You know what I mean? Don't force the issue no more, because right now that 05's got fresh tires, and not only that, 25 laps ago he just put down the fastest lap of the race of a 22.44. A fours. He's running fours.
Yeah. If I'm Brad Davis, I back it down. I try to save my tires. Don't be aggressive. Understand, there is a lot of traffic right now that is hounding these drivers that's decided to stay out and forcing them into very risky situations that could be causing some accidents here and possibly another yellow. So save your tires just in case a yellow does come out. That way you've got a chance to try to pressure the 05 for a late race run. Then I can talk about it. Here it comes. The 7 of McCoy gets spun around, as well as Metcalf and other drivers piling in. The 2 gets spun around into the pit wall. Also the 88. About 6 cars all caught up into this one, and we restack them, rack them up. And just for a note to the audience, we do have, if needed, 2 overtime attempts. We've got 2 green-white checkers, so it is possible. If we need them, we still got them.
We'll watch the replay here as you can see Kyle going down, and just again, man, just a love different braking points, Sam. By now, you would think you know the car in front of you that's braking, because now watch what happens. We just got calamity happen. Cars are 2 in the air. We got cars in the front wrecking. I mean, these guys are, I don't want to call it dive bombing, because I'm calling it the way I'm seeing it, and that's what we do here at Freaky Fast, but hit the brakes.
You can call it a dive bomb. That's what it's been the past, 70 laps. It's been dive bomb after dive bomb with these little attempts of a tap here or there. That's been getting these cars unsettled and causing some of these wrecks. And we're touched on the fact that some drivers still might have a set left to work with. And Mike Watts, who was involved in that last accident, he did have a set and comes into pit road, but he'll be back in 24th position.
Ooh.
Too far to really make any type of a charge. But we touched on the fact that some drivers had already used their final set, such as McNally. He's used his final set. He's back in 16th. He's just going to have to stay out there on his extremely old tires. But Derek Offerman in 4th place, he still has an extra set, but he's now stuck in that hole of if he comes down into pit road, he's going to be all the way back in 28th position or further back than that.
What about the 12? Same for Andrews, ain't it?
Andrew pitted with that of Rickard and all that. The other driver would be that of Nick Holland. Holland missed his pit box, drove through pit road, and actually did not take service. So he's on the same strategy as Offerman. So both those drivers in a very difficult spot, but I think they're kind of just stick with where they're at. They've made their bed. They kind of have to lay in it now, because 30 laps to go was kind of the last time for these drivers to make their final pit stop. And that's the timing that we saw most of the field come in, led by Scott Rickard, Brad Davis, and also by Andrew Midland. And it's coming late to the race, folks. Last couple attempts to try to put in who you think had the best scheme of the night. I think both for you and I, Robert, I think we both kind of are leaning towards the 25 machine to win that award. Well, there's still a lot of good cars out there, and we'll touch on some of the fan favorites out there. We know that the SRE clan is out there. Currently the 33 in 11th place and fresh rubber, and with some of the drivers in front of them that have older tires that are either going to drop back and lose time or going to have to be forced to pit. Could be a top 10 finish for the 33 here tonight.
That is correct. Well, we'll see. 20 laps here to go, ladies and gentlemen. We do want to say thank you to everybody that stayed here and watched tonight's event here with Stars and Stripes every Thursday night at 9:20 Eastern. If you're looking for a league, make sure you check these guys out on Facebook, and you can also find them on the iRacing platform at iRacing.com if you already have the game. If you don't have the game, make sure you go and check out iRacing.com and test it out. See if it's something that you would like. You don't need a wheel. Grab your Xbox controller, your PS4 controller, and test it out. Get some free content. For $15 a month, you can try it out, see if this is something that you like, and maybe pursue more into it there, Sam, and go from there. That's how everybody starts, but pace cars in, green flags out, 19 laps to go.
19 laps to go. Scott Rickard to the point, and here comes Andrew Medlin. Andrew Medlin and Rickard have been up front, and when it's late, you always see these guys. I said it earlier in the broadcast, Andrew might not be up there for the first about 100, 150 laps, but late in the race, that's when the 12 shows up for a chance to just steal one away. And then behind them, you got Nick Holland, Eric Offerman. They're side by side, kind of bogging down the rest of the field. There's Wade, the 53. We saw him in an accident about 20 laps ago. He's still in the top 10. Fresh car, fresh rubber, and here they come.
I was going to say, don't keep Wade out. I had a funny feeling that 53 is going to need to, as a here, bump and run, baby. We're down to 17 laps. Now it is bump and run. And look at Dr. House in that M&M's machine. He is really pushing Derek up there on the high side.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. House has really figured out how to make that outside line work. That's where he's been for most of the night. And every once in a while, he just gets a massive surge out of the corner, and that's what's allowing him to try to make this pass on the drivers on the much older tires. As here comes Paul House. Wade's trapped down below, but the 18, he's finding space up to 5th place, soon to be up to 4th.
Oh, he's going to try going down into turn 1, go by side. Derek's going to give him the room, and he clears him as the 4 of that Camel machine is going to try to take over what we're looking at here. 5th position here, but oh man.
Three wide. Gotta watch out. Nick Holland almost coming up into the 23. Grimm able to survive. But oh boy, those older tires, you're starting to see it. The guys that had gotten fresh rubber, it's heating up, it's warmed up. They've got the grip to make abrasive moves. Those guys with older tires, like Holland, like Offerman, they can't make these aggressive moves. They're trapped and stuck, falling backwards. Gotta hope everyone else is recognizing that they're on older tires. And oh, a little bit of a bump. There goes the 33 from a chance for a top 10. Now he's dropping out of the top 15.
Oh boy, within a half a lap from the top 10 to back to the 15th. And I'm sure he's not happy, and I'm sure he's going to give it a go here, and he's going to try. Look at this traffic he's working right now with the 13 on the outside getting into the wall. We got Butts down in the front, and oh, Hollins and Butts. How about that? Oh,
contact! The 13, Schroer hard into the wall, and just like that, Schroer. Oh no, he's dropping back quick. Heavy damage staying in the wall, keeping us green. And we are coming up to 11 laps to go, soon to be 10 laps to go. It's time to make it loud in the chat. Root for who you got, because right now it's Scott Rickard up front. Brad Davis in second, that of Andrew Medlin in third, Paul House in fourth, and Aaron Hale in 5th place. And everyone that is really jam-packed right now, 7th on back. That's where Derek Offerman on the older tires trying to hold off the rest of the field by trying to just survive to get a top 10 finish and to carry on that momentum. The 20 is finished in the top 10 every race so far this season, trying to carry that momentum on.
Oh, 10 laps to go. It's going to be 9 laps to go here, and we'll see if he can. Where's he running at right now? Actually, in 8th position. So, man, is he? Oh, we got the 33 going sideways again.
Oh, he was making his move. No, Nick Holland makes the contact.
Oh.
More drivers piling in, and
hello.
Guys, use the brick pedal, not the long skinny one, the short and bricky one. That's your brake pedal. Gosh, hard contact for that of Travis Dart.
What do you call it again?
Like, please use the brick pedal.
The brick
or slow down pedal.
These
guys only know about the long skinny one.
That's
all the only
heard
ones
of
they
that
know.
before. That was fun. I'm sorry. The brick pedal. Hit the brick.
You slow down. I know your car is built like a brake, but the brake does work. I just want to let you guys know. There's another caution to be tacked on. Gosh. Gotta feel bad. 14 cautions so far. And fan favorite, 33. Chris Essery, he is out of this thing now.
I thought he was going to save it, actually.
I did too. I thought there was a good shot for him doing that. Whew. But some of these drivers now have to be slightly concerned. We've seen a lot of them making a lot of hard contacts, and there is an incident rule that if you have over a certain amount of incident points, that you will actually start losing points in the points standings. So drivers be concerned about losing points, especially with, I know it's the start of the season, but you always have to start to think about playoffs, because you could be in or out of the playoffs by 1 point, and you don't want to be like here tonight where you're losing points because of being involved in a different wreck. Less than 10 laps to go. Drivers trying to make their final pit stops possibly here as Mike Lynch comes in, takes some service done, gets some repairs. He might actually had an extra set to work with. Nick Holland used his final set. He'll be back in 25th position. And you can see where did Derek Offerman go? And 8th place still. He's deciding to still stay out there. Thinks that he has got the track position to finish in the top 10. Even with his 82-lap old tires and fuel, he's still out there. Like I said, these drivers, with the amount of cautions we've had, could probably stretch it out to 100, possibly 120 laps. So I feel comfortable that Offerman can make it to the end fuel-wise, but those tires gonna be a stickler for sure here tonight.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be screaming. They're gonna be screaming at him. I guess we could say, "Oh, can we see a yellow coming again?"
Again, we do have 2 green-white checkered overtime attempts if needed. But once we go green, if these drivers have an immediate caution before we get to the white flag being waved, we will be put into overtime for these guys. And whew, here we go.
Short track racing, man. Short track racing, Sam. We're up to 14 yellows, and you know what? Again, this is short track racing. I don't know what else more to say about it. Short track racing.
Yeah, and you know, touching on the drivers, the previous caution to this 16 laps ago, Mike Watts made the pit stop then. He was back in 27th position. He's now up to 13th, a top 10 finish, looking good for the 84. But he's got to be careful because if he gets up to the 4, we've already seen the 84 and the 4 make contact and have a little bit of a scuffle. Who knows? Late in this race, get into our second attempt at overtime. Might see the 84 and the 4 get into it, but these drivers stacked up, ready to go. Robert, your prediction of over 6 cautions was correct by quite a large margin. But here tonight, we think has the best shot of possibly beating Rickard. Because everything everyone's figuring out, this 05 is the most dominant car here tonight.
Oh, yeah. I really don't see anybody beating him, to be honest with you. I think he's got it. He gets a great jump, and he's probably going to get another good restart here. As the pace car jumps in, and you can see he's gone already. I mean, we've seen this all night. He's getting a great restart, and he's clearing that second-place car as... Oh, no!
Contact! That was the only reason I was going to say possibly someone else, but it's going to be the 14. They're sideways. They're wrecking. It's a pile-up from 5th on back, and we stay green until now yellow. Oh, they're all piling in.
The whole
no one's surviving from 10th on back. It is a parking lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it's overtime.
I don't even know what to say, Sam. Oh my goodness, everybody just went... I don't...
All right, well, who was... The 14 was the one that we know tried to get aggressive. That was Brad Davis. And I was going to throw it out. The only way I could see anyone beating Scott was to throw their nose and try to move the 05. But it kind of backfired where he got out of sorts, then got bumped by Midland, and everyone got shuffled up, scrambled, and now we got scrambled eggs in the back half of the field as everyone is scrapped, going into pit road, try to get service done. Those that have already used their fast repairs most likely are done. But this is overtime.
Goodness.
We are going to have our first attempt at a green-white checkered. And Robert, you know, we threw out 6 cautions. Drivers were double as many as they had last season. They had only 3 in the truck series for their season 2 running of the Stars and Stripes. Here for season 3, they moved to the Xfinity cars. They thought maybe we'll double the number. We'll only have 6 cautions. We have the chance of having 16 cautions if we get a wreck in this first attempt going into our second and final attempt.
I thought I seen a lot of, you know, pile-ups at Daytona, Talladega, where you have, you know, the whole field wrecking. Never at Richmond I seen the whole field, except for maybe 10 cars, just wrecking one turn. I mean, it was a pile-up, dude.
Well, the driver that somehow, I don't know how he did it, but Mike Watts snuck his way through. He has just a little bit of damage on the front right, but that's it. The 84 with about 11 lap fresher tires than the 8 cars in front of him, he's got a shot for a top 5. I said on it before we went green on that last restart that all that Mike Watts needs is 2 attempts at a green-white checkered, and he should be up in our top 5. Well, we're at our first attempt. He needs a quick caution if he wants the second attempt to move up even more positions.
Well, if we're going off the trend of right now of this league, we're going to see another yellow. This is what we've seen in the first 3 races, and I don't see any difference, to be honest with you, Sam, in the ending of this one. I mean, I'm going off the trends, ladies and gentlemen. I am Larry Mack. The trends is we'll see another yellow.
Well, I got another question for you there, Robert.
Okay.
I know you are the owner, founder, Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Have you ever broadcasted a modified series before?
No.
Oh, well, we are doing that here tonight for overtime, as most of the field looking like modifieds with the amount of damage they've got. Oh, man. You got no hoods for some, no hoods and no front clips. You're seeing the engines for some of the guys in the further back, but if you look from about 11th, 10th, I don't know, where do we even start? Who doesn't have damage is the real question, and I don't think there's a single driver that we can say that doesn't have some type of damage, because Scott got his first real lick going into turn number 1 that last time by, and now the drivers getting around, all those that took the wave around, putting us to 28 drivers on the lead lap. But still a lot of drivers in pit road. Chris Wade, who we thought possibly had a chance to sneak away with the top 5 finish, he's going to be in pit road still trying to get service done. Same goes to that of Josh Warner. But up front, our top 5, Scott Rickard, Aaron Hale, as well as Andrew Medlin, Jason Metcalf, Brett Summers, Brett Offerman, Travis Butt, Trey Jackson, Mike Watts, and Nate Lynch, your top 10. Green flag in the air. It's going to take another bump. You got to move the 0-5 if you want to win this. Here comes Medlin into turn number 1, giving plenty of space. They're just not close enough as they're side-by-side for 3rd place.
Battle going out of turn number 2, going down the backstretch. We're going to see what they can do side by side. I hear Clemens again.
There's the other one.
There's the other one. Where's it at? We got carnage. I have no clue.
Bill Dart is absolutely stuck in the wall. And the leaders were just a few feet, hundreds of feet away, about 300-400 feet away. And then the 77 gets loose coming out of 2, a little bit of contact with the 68, and does a very similar thing of bouncing off the wall like we had seen from other drivers, and came back up into the field, collecting a few others. And we are going into our second final attempt at a green-white checkered, as you see there.
Wow.
I mean, you got chances to survive, and other times you're just a passenger to chaos.
I mean,
it's one of those things. Oh man. Well, that's our first attempt at overtime, green-white checkered. We are now going to our second and final attempt. So any flag that happens from here on out, if we get the yellow coming to the white flag, the race will end under yellow. If we get to the white flag, we race to the green. Try to race to the checkered flag. The drivers are hoping this race goes green all the way to the end. God, I mean, Robert, who do you think? Is there a shot possibly with a 4, possibly send it into the corner to try to make a pass here?
Why not? I mean, everybody else has. I would send it. I mean, the only way to win this here now, and it's going to be interesting to post interviews to hear what these guys got to say in the top 3, but I mean, like you said there, Sam, the only way to do this is you're going to have to send it in hard and try to give him a bump and not wreck him, but push him out of the way or loosen him up. That of Scott of the 05. Other than that, there's nothing no one else can do with him. And if I was Scott, all you got to do is just get your great restarts like you have been all night and get away from somebody trying to, because we've seen what Brad tried to do. He got a great restart and just he dive bombed it down into turn 1 and literally ran into the back of Scott to try to loosen him up, and like you said, it backfired on him and he got taken around. But I mean, you got to give Brad credit. He gave it a shot.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to give note to that of Derek Offerman. He's been out there for almost 90 laps on this set of tires. And with the carnage of some of these drivers, he's now up to 5th place. Could get a top 5 finish for the driver that has decided to stick out, not use his final set of tires, and went with deciding to go with track position, which is proved time and time tonight. Track position is so much more important than tires if you're able to hold on and stay up front. As drivers are trying to get set up here. Lights still on the pace car. We should be going next time by. But other drivers give note that of Mike Watts was not able, even with the fresher rubber, to make any moves forward in just that first lap. So it's not looking good for the 84 for himself to gain any more positions, but a top 10 finish for a Daytona winner. Hey, you got to feel good for that. To me, McNally, he is a driver that's looking for a top 10 finish, currently in 10th on the high line, but no hood, a lot of damage. Also, Eric Schwarr, he has been tossed around, thrown around. He's been the cause and catalyst of some wrecks. He's in 11th, trying to get a top 10 finish to stick with the same, consistency that we've seen from the 20. But Robert, this is it. We have been racing for 208 laps. These drivers are going to have to run another 2 more to see who's going to win this thing for the Stars and Stripes Xfinity Series. The Richmond 200, it's time. And Scott Rickard's going to get the great launch like he's been having all race long. And with that, Hale needed a better start. I don't think Medlin's close enough to use the bumper here, but here comes the 35, just send it in on the outside on the 3rd lane. That's going to be costing him time. Medlin, though, 2nd row out back. He's going to have to get a better run. Does not for himself. We're racing to the line. If we get the yellow flag, the race ends under yellow. If we get the white, we race to the line. And it looks like we're getting the white flag. This is it. It's concluding in this moment. Scott Rickard, he's trying to become the first multi-time winner this season. And looks like he's looking clean, green, and gone. Medlin's nowhere close. The rest of the drivers hoping that they can make it without going out and wrecking. And into the top 10, side by side, it's going to be Schwarr. But out of 4, it's Scott Rickard winning here at Richmond.
Wow.
And whoo, that was so much more anticlimactic than I was expecting, especially after the way that first attempt was. But Scott got the launch that he needed. No one was close enough to really send it in, move him around. And it gave the 0-5 the win. Medlin in 2nd. Jason Metcalf, I mean, he is going to have a story for us. He was up front challenging. He got in a couple of wrecks. 3rd place finish for the 35. But Watts able to move up 1 position. And drivers I touched on trying to continue to be finishing in the top 10 every race so far this season. Offerman gets his first top 5 this season for the 20. I believe that also goes for Hale and for Metcalf. All those drivers, really solid runs for themselves. Overall, a great run for the guys that were able to survive that second to last caution that took out everyone from 10th on back, piled up to a massive wreck, and put us into overtime. But Robert, we got our top 3. We'll be back in a few. We'll interview that's of Scott Rickard, that of Andrew Medlin, and Jason Metcalf, and just a few. Chaos here for 210 laps. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stars and Stripes Xfinity Series for race number 4 here at Richmond. And what a wild one it was here tonight. We had to utilize all 2 overtime attempts, and it came down to who could try to really get past Bully the 05. And on that final attempt, no one was even close. All the racing action was behind our leader, and in third place, that was Jason Metcalf. We will bring into the booth Jason, it's Sam up at the booth. You got me?
How you, Sam? How are you?
I'm doing all right. But for yourself, I mean, what a race it was. It was just chaotic. At times you were up front, and other times you had to battle through traffic. How was this race in your eyes?
I am very surprised at how this race went. I was practicing all weekend. I just couldn't figure this track out. And I'm like, how am I going to make this work? And then somehow during practice tonight, everything just came together and I just saved my tires and made the move when I had to. And I'm like, I finished third. I can't believe it. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, you were certainly trying to find different spaces. It seemed like one of the hardest factors tonight seemed to be finding different people's braking zones because it seemed like it was so different. Other drivers seemed like they were sending it in and just dive bombing into corners when it really wasn't that. What was the hardest aspect for you entering these corners with traffic?
What I try and do is that if I know I'm going to try and make a move, I watch their braking points for a lap or two just to get a good reference of where I can brake and where I can outbrake them. And then when I need to, I set it up and I brake a little later than I do, and it works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. But I was trying the outside line once in a while at the end there. I got a good run off the outside line, just not enough to get up to second place there. But it was an awesome race. I really had fun.
Yeah, it was a blast for us to watch up here. I know before the race, I kind of put in trying to figure out how many cautions there were last season, and there were only 3, coming down to 16 here tonight, including our 2 overtime attempts. How many, with 16 cautions this race, does that kind of put a little bit of fear in your eyes on how Martinsville's going to be coming around in the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's from from the big tracks down to the small tracks like this. I know it's a big change for some people. You gotta practice, know your braking points, and be aware of the people around you, and it'll be a lot easier. But some people don't haven't figured it out yet. And hopefully they will soon.
Well, Jason, a great run for yourself, top 3 finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I just want to say thank you for Nate for putting on his league, and I enjoy racing in the league, and I'm looking forward to doing some more races and getting some more top threes.
Jason in the 35 Tim Hortons machine, able to get a 3rd place finish. Good luck next week there, Jason, as we're going to Charlotte.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Then the 2 guys that have been battling back and forth the past 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks now. Coming up, second fiddle once again. It's going to be that of Andrew Medlin. And Andrew, it's Sam up in the booth. You got me?
Got a copy, Sam.
It just seems like you've always got a shot to win late in these races, but you're just coming up a little bit short. What else could you have done here in those 2 attempts at green, white, checkered?
Tell you what, first thing I could have done is stayed off some bumpers there, as you probably saw on the broadcast there, coming down to the, I guess it would have been the second to last restart there. There was a little bump in action going into one. Ricard saved it. Unfortunately, I got into the 14. And I'm feeling I have a target on my back bumper in future races, but did what I could, tried to keep off them, keep it clean. And, that's short track racing, unfortunately. So you're gonna bump some people, tried to take it easy there, but unfortunately it happens. I hate I ruined his night, and early in the race got into the 66, and glad he saved it. But it's unfortunate. So we'll see. But I'm Sam. I'm happy to finish second. Wish I didn't finish it in that manner, but I tend to finish right behind Scotty quite a bit. So pretty happy with that finish there.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be feeling good. 4 races, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s. I mean, you're running consistently, and that's the best thing to be feeling. But is there any race that's coming up that you're kind of circling up and being like, I've got the best shot to win there? Or is it kind of a week after week basis?
More of a week by week this season, because we got a lot of really good, strong drivers. A lot of new guys to the league this year. We're still learning each other's driving styles, but I've always been a fan of the paperclip Martinsville, so looking forward to that race in a couple weeks here. And really, just like you said, consistency is the key. So just got to try to keep it cleaner than unfortunately tonight was. But and be there at the end. So we'll get a win. If we keep staying top 5, we'll click off a win here sooner than later.
For sure. Andrew, before we let you go, though, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
All right, got to give a shout out to my wife, Sarah, my dad, Bruce, brother Aaron, my nephews, Ethan and Owen. They tend to watch these. And I keep forgetting the last couple of weeks, but I got to give a shout out to my Tampa Bay Lightning. We've been having a lot of fun in the Stanley Cup Finals here in Tampa. And it's been a great time to be a Tampa sports fan finally. And had fun and looking forward to racing with all these guys next week, and appreciate your broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa already got that football win, trying to get the Super Bowl. Let's see if they can get the Stanley Cup. Andrew, congratulations on another top 5 finish for yourself. 2nd place here tonight, and good luck at Charlotte next week.
Appreciate it. Have a good week, everyone, and happy 4th of July to everyone.
And the man that's getting his 2nd win here tonight, it's going to be Scott Ricmond. And Scott, once again, up front, an overtime attempt, and you got it done.
Yeah, that was a mess of a race for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, it seemed like the biggest thing for you was always fabulous restarts, and it seemed like you were pretty consistent on when you were taking off. Were you surprised that no one else was catching on, that you were taking off right when the pace car pulled off?
Yeah, I was surprised that they were getting better at the end, but they still weren't as much as I thought they were going to be.
And Scott, I mean, you had to work through traffic, not as much as some other drivers. Every single time you came into pits, most of the field followed you. Being on a very similar strategy as most of the field, how much do you feel like that helped you compared to some of the other drivers that were kind of coming in sparsely, 1 to 2 drivers into pit row, putting them so far back?
It was just nice having that big cushion of people at the same tires behind me when they had to try to come back through.
Well, Scott, we're now going back to mile and a half racing. Your first win this season was at Kansas. We're now going to Charlotte. How are you feeling about that course?
Considering I was pretty good at Vegas last week, better than I was expecting to be.
You certainly were. We got to cross our fingers that lap traffic does not influence that, and your influence you not winning there either. But Scott, a great run here tonight. I could say when you were up front, dominating run. That fresh air certainly was a great factor for you to have. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Everybody at Misfit Motorsports and my dog that's always in the room.
That's a great support buddy to have. Scott, congratulations on your 2nd win this season, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
And as we come to a close, thank you to our top 3 for coming up into the booth as we look at our final results. Could be unofficial results because there might be a lot of talking points to our officials and admins on where drivers might actually lie after all the carnage we saw. Scott Ricmond is going to be getting the win with Andrew Medlin in 2nd place. Jason Metcalf going to be getting 3rd, with that of Aaron Hale going to be in 4th place. Derek Offerman, his first top 5 finish. Same with that of Hale and Metcalf. All 3 of those drivers' first top 5 finishes. Brett Sommers up to 6th. Great run for the 17, as well as that of Mike Watts in 7th. Travis Butt able to get 8th place, with Trey Jackson in 9th, and Eric Schwarr going to be getting in 10th place. Both Offerman and Schwarr continue on with their consistency. Those drivers are still on the streak of finishing in the top 10 every race so far this season. We'll see if they can continue that on next week at Charlotte when we go there. Also, you got Timmy Emanuele and Chris Ezuri that are going to be getting their finishes in 11th and 12th. But here's the rest of the field and where they lied. You can kind of tell where it kind of dropped off for drivers that just could not finish this race. Hooper, Wade, Warner, Allen, and also Missick not able to finish out the race. The rest of the field did the best that they could, but Robert, 4 races in, 4 very close racing action finishes almost every week. This series just putting on some of the best shows of the whole entire week here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting.
That they have, man. That they have, man. Again, they come down to the ending, beating and banging and fighting for that position. Some people are going to come out happy, and some people are going to come out mad, and some people are going to come out of this race and say, yeah, you know what, it is what it is. But, man, my final thoughts here for this one, Sam, is like I said, it's short track racing. It can be a beating and banging. It can be some great action, and we had it all here tonight. So what's your final thoughts here before we get ready to sign off?
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy madness. I mean, we were seeing little pockets of wrecks here or there, but that's third to last caution that put us, actually second to last caution that put us into overtime, where over 20 drivers involved in that incident that clogged up the backstretch. That was incredibly insane to see. And we got a couple of other really hard wrecks that happened that makes us happy that this is on the virtual side of things. Drivers were not injured in those accidents, luckily. But certainly incredible racing action. Makes me more excited going back to Mile and a Half Racing, where we got to see a lot of green flag racing at both Kansas and Las Vegas with a couple of cautions here or there. We went from a caution filled short track racing here. Maybe we'll have less cautions next week. But then the week after that at Martinsville, us in the booth were kind of terrified. We had 16 wrecks and cautions here tonight, expecting a lot more probably on that race. But tonight, great racing. Scott Rickard, best driver out there, got the win. No surprise that he won this race. And for everyone out there that's watching, and to all our veterans, thank you so much for all the work that you do to give us our freedoms as Independence weekends coming here very shortly. It's been a blast broadcasting this week, as this is my last broadcast until I think Monday or Tuesday. So this has been a fun one there, Robert.
That is correct. Yep. As for us here at Freaky Fast, this is the last one until Tuesday. So we want to say everybody out there that has watched or is going to watch this recording back of this stream here, we do much appreciate it. Everybody out there that is watching us live right now, like Sam said, thank you to all the soldiers that keep the freedom here in the United States. We do much appreciate it. It's Independence Day. Make sure you say to a soldier, thank you. Give them a high five, a salute, or whatever you want to do. It can be a miss. It could be a madam. It could be a sir. It could be whoever you want. But anyways, just make sure you, you do that and say thank you very much to our soldiers, and to the ones that are no longer here, or fallen ones that sacrificed their time, their life, for us to be able to do this. We do much appreciate that. We might not be able to tell them in words, but we can tell them in our hearts that we do much appreciate it. But with that being said, everybody have a great Independence Day. Be safe. Enjoy the fireworks show. Enjoy the cookout. But we will catch you next week here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until then, we're going to sign off here at Ricmond Raceway. God bless everybody. We love yous all. Peace out.